for the DNC in 2020. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison. Partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's Political Talk.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
And welcome to the Devil's Advocates radio show. I am your host with the most today, Dominic Salvia. Crudy is off today. Little birthday celebration. Fancy Brian joins me in the production booth. Fancy Brian, thanks, man.
Hi, there. Good to hear from you.
Good to be here. Heard from my dear friend, folks. Big show lined up for you today. Before we get into the headlines, Casey Cayo, she's the Women's March Wisconsin Regional Director. She's also a birddogger and a student at my alma mater, and Crudy's alma mater as well, UW La Crosse. Well, she was out birddogging with some friends of ours from the Women's March, Sarah Pearson and others in Iowa. Got in front of Mr. Joe Biden, the front runner, the Democratic front runner at this point, and was asking about abortion. And there is a picture that was taken during the exchange, and Biden's leaning over and got his finger in her face. Literally seems like inches away from her face. Not a great optic, but wanted to find out more about that story. Casey's going to join us in the 3:30 hour. And in the happy hour, Maggie Daun, Dawn of the Resistance, the fine host and the show following the Devil's Advocates at 6 p.m. She will be coming in a little early and hanging out with me in the happy hour. You can look forward to many fine conversations with our friend Maggie Daun. And, of course, where else do we start? Where else can we start? And I find it a little ironic that on, I guess, the 25th anniversary of the O.J. Simpson murders, remember the book that he was going to write, If I Did It? If I Did It? And, of course, people were rightfully pissed off about the fact that O.J. Simpson would come out and write such a book. But Trump's doing the same thing today. In his discussion, his interview, his access that he gave to George Stephanopoulos and ABC, literally coming out and saying, yes, if I was offered dirt on my opponent from a foreign source, a foreign state, I'd probably look at it and maybe I'd call the FBI. But I don't want to paraphrase. I think we need to hear it from the man himself. This is truly, and I know I say this a lot, stunning. It continues to stun me. I would like to think that I'd become a little callous. My cynicism, come on, I've been a cynic for so very long. How can you possibly be shocked anymore? But when the guy stands up, when President Trump stands up and says, if I did it, this is how I do it, and yes, it's okay, there's just so many questions. Like, why... If you accept help as described by Stephanopoulos, and we'll get to the sound, and you think that's okay, then what's all the no collusion? What's the big deal if you had 140 contacts with individuals associated with Russia? If that's the case, and you think that contact going forward in the future would be totally fine, depending on what the information was, then why are you so defensive about the no collusion? Lots of questions. We'll get to it. Let's get to it. Fancy Brian. I think we're going to jump ahead into cut number 82. Donald Trump might call the FBI.
If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong.
Oh, great. We're going to rely on Trump's judgment to determine whether or not this is something worth going to the FBI about. Norway. Notice he didn't use Russia, but obviously he is open. And he's, in doing so as the president of the United States, he is announcing to the world, hello, world, it's me, Trump. If you got any dirt on any of these mofos running against me, please let me know. I will be a willing working partner. He's saying it. That's what everybody in the world heard. Let's keep going. Trump, Stephanopoulos, cut 83.
You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever
Al
you do.
Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
My FBI director is wrong. The guy that I put in is wrong. Everybody, if there is a state-sponsored individual from a, they could be friendly or not friendly, anywhere else, just want to have some influence, and they got some dirt, Donald Trump says, absolutely, take it. Do it. Hell, I did it. If I did it, that's how I would do it.
There was no collusion.
Give me a break. That's not how the world works. Why is he so defensive about it? Because, of course, that's exactly what he did. Let's keep going. Cut number, I think we're down to 85.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening.
Okay. Like maybe put your son in charge and maybe bring in the son-in-law Kushner and maybe have a representative from the foreign country like Veselnitskaya come in and have a meeting at Trump Tower and then go and lie to the world about it. What was that meeting about? The Trump Tower meeting? Well, it was about Russian adoptions. Except it wasn't, of course. It was about getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. Trump is having his OJ moment. If I did it, he did it. He's trying to explain it away, and he's telling everybody in no uncertain terms, he'd do it again. And would he turn the people in? Would he cooperate with his own FBI in these cases? Nope. No, he wouldn't. Let's keep going. Trump, Stephanopoulos, cut 86.
When somebody comes up with Oppo research, right? They come up with Oppo research. Oh, let's call the FBI. The FBI doesn't have enough agents to take care of it. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen.
You do something about
they
funding
all
that.
do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
They always do it. They always have. Except they don't always do it. And yes, there is Oppo research, but I'm not aware of any politician working with a foreign adversary, state-sponsored foreign adversary, to get dirt on their domestic, local, political opponents. If there's proof of that, please share it with me. Call me on the phones, 844-967-2789. I would love to hear it. Tell me all about it, because Donald Trump thinks that's how business is done. And Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, thinks that the only way to do business is how Donald Trump wants to do business. And Donald Trump does business by dealing with foreign adversaries to subvert the elections in this country, and he has no problem with it. 844-967-2789. Here's a piece, David from The Atlantic, a short one. I'm going to share it with you now. Suppose the president were to announce that he would in no circumstances appoint any Roman Catholic to office and were rigorously to stick to the plan. Charles L. Black Jr. wondered aloud in his 1974 book, Impeachment, a Handbook. Suppose a president were to announce and follow a policy of granting full pardons in advance of indictment or trial to all federal agents or police who killed anybody in line of duty in the District of Columbia, whatever the circumstances and however unnecessary the killing. In the throes of Watergate, the Yale professor pondered the question, must a president commit an indictable offense to be impeached? ? Black imagined a range of non-crimes that might justify removing the president from office. The two I quoted and are the climax of a series of increasing ominousness. But even Black's inventive mind did not foresee what we all just saw on ABC. The president confessing in advance that he would accept stolen information from a hostile foreign intelligence agency if it helped his presidential campaign. There's nothing wrong with listening, he told George. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent, I think I want to hear it. We played it. I'm saying it again. I'm not being redundant. I'm reminding everybody what the president is saying. Continuing on in the Atlantic. This confession carries heavy implications, starting with the question of whether Donald Trump Jr. lied to Congress when he denied telling his father in advance about the famous June 2016 Trump Tower meeting in which he believed a representative of the Russian government would be offering dirt on the Hillary Clinton campaign. The Mueller report found that the Trump campaign desperately wished to collude with Russian intelligence, but concluded there was insufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that anyone at the campaign actually had done so. But after 3 years and the special counsel's investigation, Trump acknowledges that he would do it again if given the chance. And with all due respect, David from the Atlantic, they wish to conspire. Let's just be very frank. They were colluding. They wished to conspire, and the conspiracy could not be proven. But thank you, David. I will wrap this up. Will he be given a chance, whether by Russia or China or Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or Israel or Pakistan, or for that matter, any number of foreign non-state actors, legitimate and criminal, with intelligence gathering capability? Yanni Applebaum argued in an important cover story for The Atlantic in favor of opening an impeachment inquiry into the president. I worried some weeks later on this site about the political and institutional risks of proceeding down that path. But Trump himself gets a vote. Trump himself forces the hands of those who might wish to restrain the hand. He is such an institution wrecker. His instincts are so lawless that he may simply refuse to allow Congress not to impeach him. Confessing a willingness to collaborate with foreign spies against his domestic political opponents is a hand-forcing move. The risks of proceeding are still there, but the risks of not proceeding? Trump just forced all of us to confront them in the most aggressively public possible way. David from The Atlantic. Trump's down, man. Trump did it. He'll do it again, and he doesn't give a damn what you think. But fear not, the Republicans, they're out there kind of pushing back, not really defending, but what about Hillary? What about Fusion GPS? What about the dirty dossier? What about the President of the United States saying he is down, totally down with working with a hostile foreign intelligence agency to kick the libtards' ass? We're the Devil's Advocates. I'm Dom. Crudy's gone. Fancy Brian. You on the phones. 844-967-2789. I got a problem with some of this. How about you? Give me a call. Let me know what you think.
It just shows what can happen with the wrong government.
They're winners. Winners get to do what they want.
He is doing the wrong thing.
Hey, Milwaukee, do you have an office to clean out or close out? Don't call the junk man. Call my friends at Madison Liquidators. Sustainability is their business model. They'll pick up and recycle and refurbish your used furniture. They'll help keep your old office furniture out of the landfill. Find them online at MadisonLiquidators.com. Call Madison Liquidators, 608-831-1012. Madison Liquidators. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy five9s.com.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk, News Talk, 1510 a.m. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next, it's The Forum with Sherwin Hughes from 9 to noon. Then from noon till 2, the Tom Hartman program. At 2 o'clock, it's The Brian Kelly Show. From 3 to 6, it's The Devil's Advocates. Then at 6 o'clock, it's Jocasta Zamaripa, Maggie Daun, and Unheard Of with Brandy Grayson. Listen online at newstalk1510am.com.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook. We are on Twitter at Devil Radio. And the political party line, toll free, talk or text, 844-967-2789. Talking a little Trump this hour at 3:30. Casey Cayo, Women's March Wisconsin Regional Director, going to join us on the phone. Let's talk about her experiences when confronting Joe Biden. But in the meantime, let's continue on with the Trump conversation. Mike from Racine, you're calling first. You'll have the first word today. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Well, I've been listening to the show for a few minutes, and I'd like to continue on the theme with Trump. What I was thinking as you were speaking was basically how he's damned so many of the institutions we've established in a post-World War II world, where the United States has really led and been not only, holding the world's reserve currency, but really being the world's preeminent superpower. From him damning NATO to shifting gears on globalism, it's almost ironic because it was the Republicans under William McKinley way back when, 1898, I believe, that essentially launched us into Southeast Asia. And while it's a very highly debatable topic, and amongst my fellow progressives, sometimes I'm chagrined for bringing these points up, but hindsight being 2020, it was a good thing we were there. Had we not been, Japan would have certainly overran those areas in World War II. So for Trump to blindly, pick and choose who he is going to be loyal to and who he's not, and to damn these institutions that were established by who I consider highly qualified individuals and public servants, something I don't consider him to be, I find it foolish. And I wonder what direction the United States is really going to take going forward. Are we a global superpower? Do we want to have a footprint in Asia? When we tried to establish the Trans-Pacific Partnership, everybody hated Obama for that. We have to be thinking further along than the short-term horizons we do with politics and economics these days, because I think the guys back then were looking forward to further generations, whereas today we're looking to the next quarterly earnings report. And right. I just like to know where Trump thinks America's going to be in 20, 25 years.
Mike, my impression is Trump doesn't give a damn where America is going to be in 20, 25 years. And I think you make a point about him. I think what Trump does is he really shows the frailty of these institutions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, what are these things? There are nothing more than the collective of people with a common mindset. in a building, these institutions. And when you just so easily break those walls down, when you just simply do not follow any of the customs and the rules and the laws, hell, we don't need no stinking laws, Mike. I'm not convinced that Trump has a 10 or 25-year plan. His mindset, I think, is the problem with a lot of the corporations. It's all quarter to quarter. It's all, and technically throw on the hyper political environment in which we are in, it's news cycle to news cycle to news cycle. As long as you get through the day, you're still alive and you're strong. That's my impression of the Trump strategy.
I have to agree with you. I mean, even from his meddling with the Fed, you know, people like to talk about the Fed's independence. Well, rates have been pegged. People forget that rates have been pegged close to zero. Money's been really, really cheap for the better part of a decade or maybe even a little longer. I remember losing my ass back in 2009.
Yeah, a lot of people, man.
March of 2009 to be specific. So I think you're right with that. And I guess I was asking almost in a facetious manner because I agree with you. I don't think he does have a plan, and I think that because the fact that he doesn't have a vision, for him to be speaking so authoritatively on subjects he really doesn't have anything. He doesn't seem to understand anything about or be able to accept advice from people who do. Because I'm sure there are competent civil servants working in the White House. He just must not pay attention or not care. I'd have to agree with you.
Competent civil servants, or do you mean the deep state, Mike? Hey, man, appreciate the call. 844-967-2789. Let's keep going on the phones. Pete from Milwaukee, you are next. Thanks for calling today. Pete, what do you got? Hello, Pete.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are. Hey, man, what do you got for us today?
Okay. Listen, he's got a plan, all right. It's just called, I'm going to stay in office no matter what happens. I don't care. And if the guy isn't guilty of doing exactly what he was accused of, I'm the Queen of Mary. I'm telling you.
But here's the deal, Pete. He only lasts as long as his Republican support in the Senate lasts, right? And now that'll be the question, right? Hey, Republican Senator. Hey, Ron Johnson. If you get a call from a hostile foreign intelligence agency saying, hey, I got some dirt on your political opponent, you cashing those checks, man? Or would you call the FBI? Because your president, the leader of your party, the guy you defend, he says take all that action, Pete.
Right, except for one thing. I've heard him say, well, he doesn't really know what he means. He just says stuff. So you'll make excuses for him. They're already making excuses.
Well, but then they become culpable in the problem, right? Now they're no longer there to try to push back and keep the separation of powers and keep corruption in check. They are now embracing the corruption. They're embracing this Trumpism in an effort to hold on to as much power in their frail old hands as they possibly can. We'll continue this conversation, but in the meantime, bottom of the hour, Casey Cayo, Women's March, Wisconsin Regional Director, birddogger, student at my alma mater, UW La Crosse, going to call in and talk about the Vice piece that she submitted, Joe Biden wagging his finger at her. Let's get that story coming up next.
Do you want to be a winner? All the winners I know like the Devil's Advocates Facebook page.
Wisconsin, home to the world's best cheese, best beer, and best football fans in America. But unfortunately, Wisconsin is also home to something else. Tens of thousands of citizens who just can't afford health care. We're talking friends and neighbors struggling to take care of themselves and their families. Many working long hours, or sometimes 2 jobs, in industries like retail, construction, childcare, and agriculture. Jobs that don't always offer benefits or pay wages high enough to allow someone to afford coverage on their own. That's why it's time the legislature fully expanded Badger Care for people making less than $8.50 an hour. It's a smart investment for our state, saving lives and taxpayer dollars, providing affordable health coverage for our citizens. Get the facts at betterbadgercare.com. Then tell your legislator to take action today. It's the right thing to do right now. Paid for by Citizen Action of Wisconsin.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamster Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat. Lynn, I have gotten chubby. Lose weight, lower blood pressure. But is it going to cost me $2,000? No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road. You don't have to buy one. Just try one. No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Milwaukee County Supervisor Deanna Alexander has been named interim administrator and clerk of the village of Newburgh. Alexander made news when she sued the state of Wisconsin when she was fired for speaking out against sexual harassment and refusing to provide false data to a nonprofit group that advocates on behalf of abused and neglected children. Scott Walker was dismissed as a defendant, but that case remains open, all of which was news to Newburgh's village president, who says, "I know nothing about that." Cedarburg City Council has blocked CBD stores from opening shop in its historical district. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison, partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's political talk.
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Streaming on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio phone lines. Well, they're going to be taken up right now at 844-967-2789. We have a guest. Her name, Casey Cayo. She is a bird dogger from here, right here in the state of Wisconsin, and she was bird dogging down in Iowa when she had the opportunity to meet Joe Biden. And this was the headline at Vice.com. Joe Biden wagged his finger at me when I asked him about abortion, the story behind the viral Twitter photo. Casey joins us on the phones. Casey, welcome to the Devil's Advocates.
Thank you so much for having me. This is super exciting.
Oh, I'm super psyched. Thank you for coming on the show. Now, Casey, I came across the photo, I believe, yesterday, and then I saw the write-up in Vice News. I don't want to describe it. I want you, number one, tell us, what is bird dogging to you, and why do you engage in this activity?
Absolutely. So bird dogging is basically approaching a candidate with a specific question and then doing our very best to get that question on record. We aren't typically looking for clickbait articles or gotcha moments. We're really just looking for answers to the questions. I got involved with this. I was someone who helped to organize and participate the Brett Kavanaugh protests in Washington, D.C. last September and October. and I met some people who did bird dogging. So this was actually my first time taking part in it myself. Since the Brett Kavanaugh protests, we are very much concerned with basically the decade-long plan to stack our courts on a federal and state level with conservative right-wing judges. So we have been going around to all of the presidential candidates and finding out what their ideas look like in the future for restructuring and reforming all of the courts. So that's why I was there this past weekend.
Seems like a noble effort, Casey. How many you were in Iowa? How many candidates have you been able to bird dog and speak to since this campaign cycle has began?
Sure. Personally, I got to speak to Elizabeth Warren. I got to see Beto O'Rourke and Pete Buttigieg and now Joe Biden. And we tried to talk to Senator Sanders as well, but we weren't able to ask him questions at that time. One of his organizers saw us and wouldn't let anyone ask questions after all.
And Casey, do you ask...
In all this group, oh, yes.
No, please. Do you ask the same question of all these candidates, or do you mix them up depending on which candidate you're speaking with?
Right now, our main goal is definitely about the courts. We've spoken to everybody at least once, and we have at least one video of everyone talking to everyone. Sometimes, depending on whether they've released a stance on reforming and restructuring the courts, we may change the way we ask the question. But we're hoping the more times we ask it, the more likely it'll get into the debates, and then the more likely there will be real reform that we can hold them accountable for in the future.
And generally speaking, Casey, from your experiences with Warren and O'Rourke and Buttigieg and Biden, do you feel like they're providing straight answers to you, or do you feel like they're giving you the political push around?
Typically, they don't always have a plan, but they always have an idea of what they're looking for, whether that be rotating judges, expanding the Supreme Court to 15 justices or more or less, whether that be adding term limits. They all have an idea, and they've all let me finish my question to get to it.
Well, that's nice of them. It's and somewhat surprising. A fine Democratic field, perhaps, Casey. All right, so now let's talk about the Joe Biden interaction. Set the scene for us. Where were you? What was the circumstance, and how did you approach the front runner?
Absolutely. So we had planned how to ask our question. We had no idea whether it would be a town hall, an open forum, or whether we'd have to stand in a selfie line and then try to get him there. It really depends, and we didn't know what we were walking into. We were at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa, Iowa. It was myself and two other women who had met and or known each other prior to the Kavanaugh protest. And we were the only ones able to attend this event out of our ragtag little group. So we went in, and it turned out that there was a pretty good turnout for this event. So we didn't show up early enough. We ended up being behind him, and pretty soon in we realized we wouldn't be able to raise our hand and ask a question, which gave us some leeway for how we asked our question. We could be more straightforward if we wanted. We wouldn't have to gauge the crowd, because we've had bird doggers be booed out depending on just who's around. So we ended up having to get into the selfie line, and that's where we waited for him.
Okay.
And he was pretty good about talking to everyone and shaking everyone's hand. And at that point, we just waited for him to get to us at the end of the line.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. That's Casey Cayo. She's a bird dogger telling us about her experience with Joe Biden on the Devil's Advocates. Casey, please continue. So, in the selfie line, you finally get your shot. You've been practicing. You have a question in mind. What is the question?
We were going to talk about how we were concerned about his stance on basically, the recent stuff with Joe Biden has been that he's recently revealed some anti-choice views regarding female reproductive justice. So we wanted to talk to him about that and the Hyde Amendment, and then we were going to tie it in and basically say, and other people who have that stance, like Brett Kavanaugh, people were concerned about getting into our courts. And we wanted to ask him how he planned to protect women in the future and what he wanted to do with our court system. Unfortunately, I only got about halfway through my first sentence of my 30-second elevator pitch before things got a little crazy.
And so So what happened? You get halfway through. You're talking about his. I guess. Did you mention the word flip flop on the Hyde Amendment? I mean, how did you say any words? Were you rude in any way, Casey?
I mean, I was upfront, but I would not say I was rude. I was pretty level. I just don't think he was expecting anything controversial to come up. I mean, when you plan an event and you release it so late in the week on a Tuesday at noon, you're not really expecting like anybody from the working poor, any activists, to be able to attend your event. That's not who he was catering to. So when I asked my question, I said I piggybacked off my friend who had tried to ask him about the courts, and he was like, "No, we'll have to have a plan," which was a really vague, unhelpful answer.
Right.
So I tried to piggyback off the end of her statement. So I was like, "Okay, well, we're glad to hear that you are at least thinking about it, because we are very concerned about your stance on abortion and Roe v. Wade and the Hyde Amendment right now. We think it's very problematic." To which he replied, "Why is that?" Which I was very surprised to hear, because his flip-flop on the Hyde Amendment had come out this week. And basically the rest of our interaction was equally as confusing, in which I would say, "Oh, we think it's problematic because of this." And he would say, "Oh, but the Violence Against Women Act." I'd be like, "No, but sir, I'm talking about the Hyde Amendment right now." And he'd be like, "Oh, but violence against women." And then at some point, when we were going back and forth trying to get something out of each other, he got very, very aggravated with this attempt at bird dogging. At some point, he leaned forward and he raised his hand. And for one hot second, in my head, I was like, oh crap, I'm about to get slapped in the face by our ex-vice president.
Oh, no.
Which, realistically, it wouldn't have happened. Realistically, there were so many people around. I don't think Joe Biden would do that.
Right.
I hope.
Right.
But for a hot second, just because of the way women have been conditioned to, when a man raises their voice and raises their hand, violence is soon to follow. That's typically what historically happened. And I was so ready. Thankfully, he just wagged his hand, which I guess I shouldn't say thankfully, because that wasn't super, super respectful either.
No,
but he began to wag his hand at me, and then he stated, "No one else has said more, done more, or changed more for women in this race. I wrote the Violence Against Women legislation," which isn't entirely true. He co-wrote it with another woman, but, that's another story.
He co-wrote. He co-authored.
Yes, he co-wrote it. And then it was sponsored and edited by literally everyone. And it's been very vague, and it's only really protected some women. It isn't, I don't know. And that's another story in and of itself.
Well, and Casey, it's an answer to a question that you did not ask, right?
Yes. He is very pro talking about the good things he's done and not taking responsibility for the other things he's done.
And Casey, what's your impression then? Did it come off as he's very defensive about his changing of his position on the Hyde Amendment? I mean, I heard some of the sound when he came out that day, and no doubt about it. Over the last couple of weeks, I believe a staffer reinforced it. Then he came back, and now he came back against it. So there's certainly been some movement on this issue, and historically, we can look at the voting record, and you can't run away from that. What would you have liked to have heard from the front runner regarding a position move
about what could go better in protecting reproductive health care and providing justice for other women and women like myself? Jokes he's poked fun at for women who have accused him of sexual harassment claims. And he makes fun of them often. And he hasn't apologized to Anita Hill. And I don't know, when I saw the face that he made at me, I realized that is exactly the kind of man who would and could do something like those things. That was the same face that men who have done those types of things to me have had. He is, in my experience, exactly the kind of man who would sexually harass someone, who gets in your face, wags his finger at you, raises his voice, and just tries to intimidate you with a power play like that. I was looking for just any sort of acceptance of this responsibility, and I didn't see that. And I left angry and more than a little frightened. I don't know if he could tell, but my knees were definitely shaking when he began to raise his voice and raise his hand.
And we're talking about the former vice president. We're talking about a presidential front runner, literally in your face. And his finger, and I'm looking at the photo from Vice.com, Casey, and I'm guessing his finger is about one finger, less than a finger's length away from your face. And I have to be honest with you, I think you showed great restraint. I'm not clear that I would have not escalated any confrontation when someone has their hands that close to me. It's certainly in my personal space. It's certainly a threatening move. Did you get any impression at all, Casey, that he thought or that he had any regret, or that activity, that motion, did he back off at all immediately? What was his immediate reaction after pointing that finger directly at your chin?
Besides just schooling my features and trying to be as respectful as I could, because honestly, if I'd escalated, if I'd had an outburst, I would have been like that whiny liberal feminist who like lost her mind. Women don't get to do that, or female presenting people like me don't get to show those emotions, even though there's really no reason why we can't. So I just waited, and as soon as he brought the Violence Against Women Act again, I said, okay, well, you'll need to prove it in the future. And then he dropped his hand and seemed very confused. And then slowly began to, like, not slowly, but eventually after another confusing statement where he was like, the Violence Against Women Act, as if he was just verifying that I knew what it was. And then he turned his back on us. And it was baffling, but also as this man shakes his hand in the face of someone who presents themselves as female, while saying that nobody else in the candidacy, even though he's running against people who are also women, he's saying that he has done more for women than anyone else, as he degrades and intimidates a young woman, a young student in front of him. It's kind of a joke. I looked at him and I was like, this is a joke. This whole interaction has been a joke. He doesn't regret anything. And if anything, the photo is very telling of exactly what kind of a person Joe Biden is. He doesn't respect women. He doesn't take responsibility for the things that he has done to them. And he really has no idea what century he's in if he thinks he's going to get away with that in this day and age of media.
Well, Casey, I commend your patience and your bird dogging and your efforts to get honest, straightforward answers from these politicians. You represent the state of Wisconsin, UW La Crosse, very well, my friend. Casey, what's on the horizon for you? Any future trips coming up? Anything else we can expect from your bird dogging activities?
Definitely. Well, there's a debate in Miami at the end of the month, so I'm really hoping I can get some funding in to go. But as for immediate things, I got really behind on classes, and I didn't do my homework while I was gone. So I need to do that.
All right. Well, Casey, if you make it to Miami, we will be in Miami, the Devil's Advocates. We're going to broadcast live the debate. So if you make it down, please make sure to reach out, look us up. We'll hang out and have a beer and talk about these and other political events. Thank you so much for joining us on the Devil's Advocates radio show, Casey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It is our pleasure. Thank you, Casey Cayo, bird dogger, and a student at UW La Crosse, Crudy and mine. That's our alma mater. We appreciate her. Check it out on Vice.com. We put the story up on our Facebook page. Yes, we should expect more from everybody. If you're running for anything, especially president, pretty sure you don't want to get involved and get in someone's face and shaking your finger at them. It's a bad optic. Thank you for all the bird doggers out there. We do love you. We are the Devil's Advocates. 844-967-2789.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Hey, Milwaukee, do you have an office to clean out or close out? Don't call the junk man. Call my friends at Madison Liquidators. Sustainability is their business model. They'll pick up and recycle and refurbish your used furniture. They'll help keep your old office furniture out of the landfill. Find them online at MadisonLiquidators.com. Call Madison Liquidators, 608-831-1012. Madison Liquidators. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes. And Kim, you're on the air. How are you?
I came here from Dallas. I'm white. I was kind of amazed at how segregated Milwaukee is compared to Dallas. When people move to areas because they have, quote, better schools, I've kind of learned that's a dog whistle.
Yes, it is.
Especially up here.
It will not be what you expect to hear, but we will definitely give you what you need to know.
Us liberals don't always see it this way, but we need to.
Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon, exclusively on Real Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocate. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the political party line, talk or text, 844-967-2789. Thank you, Casey Cayo, student, UW La Crosse, Women's March Wisconsin Regional Director, and infamous birddogger. I can't imagine being a student at UW La Crosse. I was not bird dogging. Let's just put it that way. I was getting into all sorts of trouble, so I truly appreciate and respect what Casey and folks like her do. It takes a lot. And yes, unfortunately, she's absolutely right. The standards for men and women in those kinds of situations have traditionally been different. And I would support her in any way she would have handled that situation. She certainly handled it with class, and we do appreciate her sharing her stories with us. And I think that that goes to the bigger issue. The old white male, getting in the face of a young female activist, simply looking for answers. And the answer to answer a question, to provide an answer to a question of which you were not asked, is not providing an answer. I mean, it's their words, but it does not get to the point. And if a student from UW La Crosse can gin up that kind of angst in Joe Biden by simply bringing up the obvious contradictory statements and positions without allowing him to just come up and say, well, I've looked at it and reviewed it and I haven't talked to any advisors and I've decided to change my mind. Okay, that's good and well, but if you're going to go out and you're running for office, people want to know a little bit more about maybe your thought process, Joe. Maybe they want to know, well, why did you support it in the first place? What is it about now? Can you give me some more details on that? Do you regret those decisions? How would you vote on these things going forward? Are you concerned about any of the other Democrats who have all been against this amendment? There's lots of questions to ask, lots of answers to be given to any politician who wants to earn the vote. And I didn't get into Casey. I guess I should have asked who she's thinking about supporting at this point. But I'm betting it's probably not going to be Joe Biden.
I'll tell you one thing. If somebody's on really, really steady ground, they don't get that defensive about things. Right. You reverse your idea on the Hyde Amendment. Obviously, you had something to do with that. You had some thought processes, and if you can't express them, then you're probably on shaky ground.
Right.
And I want to say, as far as finger pointing, yesterday we talked about this. You got up in my face, and I knew you were coming over, and you said, hey, if I put my finger in your face like that, and I'm literally twice the size of you. Literally.
Literally, right.
And I'm a hugger as well. I don't mind close contact. I don't care about that. I don't care about guys giving me hugs. Whatever. But you got on my face and you put your finger in front of me, and it really bothered me. And I knew I even knew what you were doing.
Right, we were talking about this.
Yeah,
and I would be the same way. So, and I know I got to give it to her, and anybody in those situations to keep the cooler head, because Joe Biden ain't got jack on me. You know, he's still a human being, and if you're going to get in my face, then I'm pretty sure I'm going to get in yours, and then we're going to see where that ends up. And that's a terrible confrontational way to live life, but it takes a lot to just not automatically, for me, to respond like that. So, I mean, Casey, obviously way more of an adult than I am, and hell, way more of an adult than Joe Biden. It's just such a terrible picture. It is a terrible optic. It is a terrible. And Joe, what's wrong with? Listen, I don't want to rip on. It's not a rip on Joe Day or show or whatever. But listen, you're the leader, right? I mean, you're the presumptive leader of the Democrats, and this is how you react to a little bit of pushing back, a little bit of respectfully not accepting the answer to the question was not asked and asking again and trying to get more detail. And if that's how you react in those situations, it just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't seem very professional to me. And if you really had thoughts and regrets, and Joe, I'm going to try to be like Joe now for a minute. I'm going to talk very soft, very slow and specific.
Yeah, it's okay, man.
And we can talk about the things that we've done in the past and how we've grown as human beings. And everybody gets an opportunity to grow. Everyone gets a pass. If you change your mind, new information came to light, and you decided that, I can no longer support X, Y, or Z position, that's okay. Then you should own it. Oh, Casey, I believe for many years that this was why I was voting for it. And given how the courts and legislatures have reacted in different states of Republicans that are obviously trying to entirely do away with abortion here in this country, I reflected and believed that, those decisions were wrong, that this is the right thing to do now. And I hope I can earn your vote going forward. Thank you for asking the question.
That sounds nice, but
isn't that nice? I mean, I didn't write that down or anything.
You don't have to worry about Mr. Roper walking in and thinking the wrong thing about you.
Oh, it's just, don't be pointing at people, Joe. Come on, man. It's like you act like Trump like that. Do we have any? He's not Trump. He's the front runner. We might be voting for that guy. Come on, Joe. Shape it up, man. 844-967-2789. Speaking of Trump, we're not done yet. Eat your broccoli. We have some other sound. Schumer, Pelosi, hell, even Graham. The Republicans pushing back a little bit. The Republicans. The Dems, they're all over it. Trump, are you kidding me, man? Apparently, White House, according to Politico, rushes into damage control. Let's get into a little bit more of that, plus your calls in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll be right back. This is the Devil's Advocates radio show. I am your host, the Crudy-less host, Dominic, that's Fancy Brian. You on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Want to be more presidential? Tweet the Devil's Advocates at Devil Radio.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Sanders heading home. U.S. blames Iran. I'm Mike Moss.
President Trump has announced his press secretary, Sarah Sanders, is leaving at the end of the month.
She's going to be going back to Arkansas with her great family. Her husband is a fantastic guy in her family. And I don't know, Phil and folks, if we can get her to run for the governor of Arkansas.
Correspondent Abby Phillip is at the White House.
She's been floating this in private conversations in recent weeks. So it is more than just President Trump simply mulling this on social media. And with that kind of endorsement, I certainly think it really gives some fuel behind that idea.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is among those critical of the president's suggestion he would accept political dirt from a foreign country.
Undemocratic, un-American, disgraceful. The president's comments suggest he believes winning an election is more important than the integrity of the election. That idea is flat out wrong.
South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake of law. I don't want to send a signal to encourage this.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo fingered Iran today for attacks against 2 tankers in the Gulf of Oman.
The United States will defend its forces, interests, and stand with our partners and allies to safeguard global commerce and regional stability. And we call upon all nations threatened by Iran's provocative acts to join us in that endeavor.
Correspondent Barbara Starr is at the Pentagon.
These tankers were underway, and if in fact it is Iran behind it, as the U.S. now suspects at least, it shows a very advanced capability by Iran to have some underwater capability to place a mine on a moving ship.
Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. has been charged with forcibly touching a woman at a New York night spot. His lawyer's Mark Heller.
I am completely confident that he will be totally exonerated.
Heller says the accuser should be charged with perjury. The Dow Up 101. I'm Mike Moss.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamster Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. That means it could be you, your best man, your worst man. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
The 2012 Benghazi attacks that resulted in the death of Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 other Americans has been found guilty on multiple counts. Correspondent John Stolas has more.
Mustafa al-Imam was found guilty by a federal jury in Washington on 2 counts: conspiracy to provide material support and resources to terrorists, and maliciously destroying property at the U.S. diplomatic compound in Benghazi. However, the jury so far has not been able to reach a verdict on the remaining charges, some of which include murder counts. The jury continues to deliberate on those, and it is possible the judge may declare a mistrial on those counts if they can't reach a verdict. John Stolness, Washington.
California Congressman Duncan Hunter's wife, Margaret, pleaded guilty today to conspiracy with her husband to knowingly and willfully converting $250,000 in campaign funds for their personal use. She says she has agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. I'm Mike Moss.
And not to
3, 2, 1. Oh no. Which button am I?
When every second counts, you can't wing it.
Guys, a little help up here?
In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So make a family home fire escape plan. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year so everyone knows what to do when they hear. Prepare your family at ready.gov/fire drill. Brought to you by FEMA, the Ad Council, and Make Safe Happen.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
Scott Walker tweeting out from a La Quinta in a Rancho del Solio Ronald Reagan fashion shirt.
You know,
only
as a
available
guy
online.
who's wearing a Bernie Sanders shirt, how can you
Mine's
rip on
bootleg.
a guy for wearing a Ronald Reagan shirt?
Buddy, I got a Bernie bootleg on. This is cool on so many levels. You don't even know how cool I
I
am.
do not. If it could just be a little tighter.
For For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Governor Tony Evers reinstated a board to offer pardons this week. Previously, the Walker administration had suspended the pardon board in 2011. Governor Evers released a statement saying, quote, "People who have taken responsibility for their mistakes and who have worked to improve their lives and communities deserve a second chance." State Attorney General Josh Kaul is siding with former Governor Scott Walker's DNR and President Trump's EPA in saying that most smog in southeastern Wisconsin is generated in Illinois. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison, partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. Friday highs of 76 with mostly cloudy skies. Saturday highs around 70 with rain in the forecast. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's Political Talk.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2. Happy Thursday to us all. 844-967-2789. Donald Trump still in the news. Let's get to that. Let's remind everybody, for anyone who hasn't been listening and where the hell you been, Donald Trump on calling the FBI. Let's do cut number 84, if you would, please, Brian.
Let's put yourself in a position, you're a congressman. Somebody comes up and says, hey, I have information on your opponent. Do you call the FBI? I don't think
coming from
I'll tell you
Russia,
what,
you do.
I've seen a lot of things over my life. I don't think in my whole life I've ever called the FBI. In my whole life. You don't call the FBI. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
The FBI director is wrong. Let's play some other sound. Schumer and Pelosi. Senator Chuck Schumer, let's start with cut number 94, pushing back on Trump.
Remarks last night define deviancy down to a new low.
Ooh, we're number one. Let's keep going. Schumer, 95.
To say that it's okay for foreign countries to interfere in our elections with motives that are not what's in the interest of the American people? Disgraceful, shocking.
Shocking. Some would say stunning. Let's keep going. Schumer, 96.
It's as if the president has learned absolutely nothing from the past 2 years of investigations into Russia's interference with the 2016 elections. This is precisely how the whole thing started.
Or as O.J. Simpson put it, if I did it, Schumer...
I'd do it again.
He will do it again. He's telling everybody. Schumer ain't buying it. Cut 97.
Very simple. A foreign power comes to your campaign and offers assistance, you tell the FBI. This would say you're required to by law. That has been Senator Warner's bill. Are our Republican colleagues going to be with us on that? Well, we'll find out shortly.
Let's keep going. Schumer.
My Republican friends should take a few hours to decide if they really want to block that bill. Because if they do, it would be a disgrace. Another step of defining deviancy down in this grand democracy.
Chuck Schumer.
Are you going to say it's okay when a foreign power comes to you or any other candidate or a sitting president and says, we'll help you win the election? Psst, we'll help you?
Republicans, I have a feeling, are going to be okay with it. Let's do one more. Chuck Schumer. That would be cut number 100, I believe.
The president's idea that winning the election is everything and the integrity of the election is nothing is one small step away from dictators and autocrats.
Ooh, don't talk so dirty to Trump, Schumer. He loves those kinds of words. Dictators, autocrats, Trumpism. Let's get some callers in. 844-967-2789. What are your thoughts today? Gary from Sussex, you are up. Thanks for calling today. Gary, what do you got?
Well, first of all, I'm shocked that Donald Trump would end up having this little what's his name? Not Papadopoulos. What's his name?
Stephanopoulos. George
Yeah.
Stephanopoulos. Yes.
George. They have George come in there and go out there and ask him questions that he totally set up. I mean, why would Trump even have him in his office?
Wait. But what do you mean by set up? I mean, it sounds like they're asking pretty specific questions, and Trump is being very candid in his answers, Gary.
Let me just ask you, if you were running for mayor or something like that, and somebody came in and said, I got some dirt on your guy, wouldn't you sit there and say, well, what is it? Well, he's out there.
Hang on. Let me just respond, if I may. If it's Sergei Kislyak from the Russian intelligence services offering me dirt that they've collected through their state efforts, yes, Gary, I think I would call the FBI. What would you do?
First of all, I'd ask, what kind of dirt you got? Now, if he's got something criminal,
does it matter where they come from, Gary? Does it matter that it's a hostile foreign intelligence service? Does that matter to you?
No, but it all depends what kind of information he's giving you. If he's giving you information like the guy's got nukes stored up, or he's going out there buying this or buying that, well, that's one thing. But I'd find out
why is it, Gary? Why is it acceptable to accept any help whatsoever, even if it's because that's the whole point, Gary. Foreign intelligence services are probably smarter than you are. Right? They're certainly smarter than Trump is. Okay, so they know how they're going to play you. They've already probably tapped you. They may even have video of you, Gary, doing something that you shouldn't have been doing. Do you think for 1 minute that a foreign intelligence service is going to drop a dime on somebody just because they're feeling malevolent that day, Gary? Come on, man. There's always a price to pay.
Listen, Tom, I believe that when George Stephanopoulos asked him the hypothetical question, that he said, hey, it all depends. Yes, I'd like to know what it is. It all depends what it is. If it's illegal, then I'd tell the FBI. I don't think.
No, he didn't say that, Gary. You're misunderstanding. You're projecting to what you think you want to hear. I got the sound. All right, Gary. All right, let's play it again. Let's hear some more. Let's replay it for Gary. Let's do cut number 82, if you would, please, Brian.
If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI. If I thought there was something wrong.
One more, Gary, indulge me. Next cut, 83, please.
You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever you do.
Al Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
Gary, do you believe like Trump, that the FBI director is wrong and you would vote for Trump again if, once again, because I know you don't believe it, he was to conspire with the Russians to get dirt on any of the Dem candidates?
Well, I believe that, I think him and Junior decided that they wanted to get any information. Somebody offered him some information. Don't you think that Hillary or Barack Obama or any other politician would want to know, get an advantage? Of course they would. I mean,
but Gary, there is a distinction. Gary, there is a distinction. We're talking about getting information. You don't know what kind of information. You don't know if it's real. You don't know if it's tainted. You have no idea. From a foreign intelligence service, this isn't about, knowing a guy down at the bar that saw Gary Hart making out with someone on a boat, man. This is about engaging with a foreign intelligence service to subvert perhaps the election in this country. You okay with that? For real?
If a foreign country came to Trump and said,
like Russia did, yes?
We got such dirt on Hillary and this is going to help you win the election, I would take it.
Well, all right, man. I got it. You and the Republicans, Gary, you're all down with that. Hell, it'd be even better, Gary, if the Russians, if they use their intelligence services to hack into some computers, right? Maybe steal some emails and coordinate a release through WikiLeaks. So Trump didn't do it and the Russians didn't do it, and hell, it's journalism because WikiLeaks did it. Would that be okay then, Gary?
Barack Obama.
Would that be okay then, Gary?
And they're tapping the.
Would that be okay then, Gary? I'm going to ask you the last time, and I'm hanging up on you, Gary. Would that be okay? You're okay with that? That scenario I described. Hey, Russia, hack their stuff. They hack it. They give it to WikiLeaks, and they coordinate the dump timing with the administration, or at least the campaign. If that were to be true, Gary, are you okay with that?
Well, no. Not the way you put it. No.
Right. That's the way it is, dude. And you can't defend it. You just try. Just try once to not use a sentence with a Barack Obama or Clinton in it. Just once.
Right. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. I'm glad you said no at the end, but let me tell you something. That is what Trump said he would do again. If I did it, he'd do it again. Let's get some more callers in. We're starting to wrap up here. Rack them up. Betsy, you are next. Thanks for calling. Betsy, what do you think?
I think Gary really needs to pray a little harder to God because he's not talking to him. Satan is, okay? I mean, this man is an absolute criminal.
Gary or Trump?
No.
All right, I just want to be clear, Betsy. Okay, Trump. Yes, please continue.
He is an absolute criminal. I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. He is such an arrogant, embarrassing, he is a national security risk.
Yes, I
to
concur.
Our country. I don't care what country it is. What, China, Iran, North Korea, I don't care. Stand of our democracy.
He would
Look
take.
what's happening over in Taiwan.
He would take help from everybody, Betsy. He said it again. He's reinforcing what he has already done. Betsy, do you have any hope that the Republicans, maybe some more, come to the light on this issue, or do you think that they're all just going to continue to circle the wagons?
No, I think they all got help from foreign powers, and that's why they're being complicit. And they're all just
But I have no love.
in our country. I think they're all guilty of treason. All of them. And look at how they're gerrymandered in. Wake up, Gary.
Thank you, Betsy. Wake up, Gary. Hey, he finally said no, he'd be against that if that happened. But of course, I described exactly what happened in the Mueller report. 844-967-2789. Republicans, you are welcome to call in. Convince us. Tell us, reinforce it, that it's okay for a foreign hostile intelligence services to provide dirt on your political candidates and domestic local campaigns. Please, and reinforce it. Tell it. Say it over and over and over again. Wouldn't Reagan just be rolling over in his grave? I thought all these guys loved Reagan. Didn't Reagan defeat the evil empire? Now that they're all down working with the evil empire?
That's all the explanation I can have for it.
We have much more to say, despite what Fancy Brian says. 844-967-2789. We'll get to more of your calls. And it's the 420 break on an update on Colorado's revenue, plus more reaction to Trump's statements on the other side. Stick around.
But I have no loans with Russia. You could go to the United States government and they would probably tell you that because they know my sheet very well.
Our understanding that they went on throughout 2016, weren't a lot of them, but there were conversations. Can't be sure of the exact dates, but the president can remember having conversations with him about it.
Throughout 2016?
The president also remembered. Yeah, probably could be up to as far as October, November.
Russia, if you're listening.
Take me to bed or lose me forever.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk, News Talk, 1510 a.m. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next, it's The Forum with Sherwin Hughes from 9 to noon. Then from noon till 2, the Tom Hartman program. At 2 o'clock, it's the Brian Kelly Show. From 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Then at 6 o'clock, it's Jocasta Zamaripa, Maggie Daun, and Unheard Of with Brandy Grayson. Listen online at newstalk1510am.com.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the political party line. Talk or text, always open and toll-free, 844-967-2789. Callers, be patient for just a moment. It's a 420 break. I do a 420 update from CNBC. This posted yesterday. Colorado has now generated more than $1 billion, billions and billions, $1 billion in total state revenue from the legal marijuana industry, another milestone for the state that legalized cannabis in 2014.
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
And billions and billions. Colorado already posted some big numbers, more than $6 billion in total sales of cannabis since the birth of the new industry. I don't want to say birth of new industry. It's kind of been around for a while, but okay. CNBC, over $6.5 billion at the end of May, according to just released monthly data from the state. And state's revenue from adult use marijuana sales has accelerated. Hey, think of that. April and May were the two highest grossing months in the 5-year history of the new industry, with Colorado revenue reaching its highest monthly take ever in April, which includes the 420 holiday, at roughly $24.2 million. It's not a bad April. The state's legal marijuana sales revenue doubling from the $500 million mark to $1 billion and took just under 2 years, while getting to $500 million took close to 3.5 years. Since July of 2017, Colorado total monthly tax and fee revenue from marijuana sales has never dipped below $20 million. In February 2014, the first month with sales tracking data, total state revenue was $3.5 million. Hey, who'd have thought you could make money selling weed? CNBC, not a new industry, but yes, newly regulated, perhaps. Let's get back to the phones, doing some Trump trash, and deservedly so. 844-967-2789. Matt from Johnson's Creek, you are up. Thank you for calling, Matt. What do you got?
Hey, guys, real quick, because I got to go, but you're not going to convince me that Sarah Sanders didn't watch that interview last night, call the White House and be like, I'm done. I'm not defending that one. They don't hold press conferences anyway, but she's got to be like, look, that dog is going to hunt for a long time, and I do not want to face one question about that because I'm just done. I can't handle this anymore. Because if it was some sort of, like, well-known transition, they'd have somebody ready to go for her, like a Brett Baer or whoever from Fox News. Yeah, I just think she was watching it last night. She looked over, called her dad, and be like, Dad, I'm done.
I'm done. Thank you. Check, please.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. And yes, breaking news, Sarah Sanders leaving the White House at the end of the month. Trump said he announced her unexpected departure in a tweet, writing, "After 3.5 years, our wonderful Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be leaving the White House at the end of the month and going home to the great state of Arkansas." He continued on, "She's a very special person with extraordinary talents who has done an incredible job. She has a talent for lying her ass off."
I'm going to get you a nice fruit basket. I'm going to miss him.
Trump continues, "I hope she decides to run for governor of Arkansas. She would be fantastic. Sarah, thank you for a job well done." Remember when Sarah lied about the rank and file FBI agents that had no confidence in Comey, and then she was interviewed by Mueller and said that she had no basis for making that statement? I remember that. And then she had the nerve to say the other day how she doesn't like to be called a liar. Then don't lie. Pizza Box Mike, you are next. Thanks for calling today, man. What do you got for us?
Oh, the Rocky Mountains is the bone marrow of America.
Oh, isn't it, though?
I mean, that is, this is a horrible film from way back, too, but Colorado is basically the new version of Birth of a Nation. But I'm not going to let Gary off the hook here, man, because I got to ask him, is he a Christian or is he a dirt-licking Christian?
What's the difference, man?
Well, the dirt-licking Christians were the ones that, looked up stuff on Jesus and made sure they got his ass nailed to the cross. That's who you're with, Gary. You're with the dirt lickers, man. You better be careful, because a guy like me, I go dirt licking too, and I just might find something new.
Perhaps are you making an analogy here, Pizza Box, that the one who betrayed Jesus, Judas, right, for the gold or silver or something like that, that's basically Trump, and he would betray for money? Is that what you're saying? I'm just a little unclear.
Well, basically, yes. That's just part of it. But there was a whole conspiracy against him of, the same kind of propaganda, running against a guy helping the poor and the sick. And this guy's a loser, man. We got to get rid of him, man. We need to control the people, man. The sick ones can die off, and we'll get some new ones to do the work.
It's just terrible.
That's where it's at, man.
All right, now let me ask you this, though, Mike, and this is kind of the theme. I'm already there on impeachment. Crudy's not. I'm not sure where you're at. I would imagine you might be there, but you can answer that question for yourself. But do you think that there is a tide turning? Do you think that Republicans will forcefully start rejecting Donald Trump?
Ooh, well, I think there's a tide coming, but it might be coming from Antarctica. Say, listen, this is just beyond comprehension at this point. I mean, I'm not, all the things that are going on bad in the world, none of those events care who's the president or anything else, and I'm going to try and draw my focus away from all this negativity and get back into nature again, man. I told you that UP trip changed me, man. UP, woohoo!
Right on. They got some legal weed up there. Thank you, Pizza Box. Mike, we are the Devil's Advocates. More phone calls on the other side, 844-967-2789.
If politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Check out more at domandcroot.com.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 59s.com. That's the number 5NINES.com.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters, and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys, because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Have you been to the Hemp House on Main Street in Deerfield yet? Why not? Crudy has just a short drive from the east side of Madison and well worth the trip. Cute shop, easy to find. I love what Brian and Melissa have done with the place. I also love that they sell only Wisconsin CBD products sourced from local farms. No one is more passionate than Brian. No one is more caring than Melissa. They'll give you all the time you need and answer all your CBD questions. Go to the Hemp House at 44 North Main Street, Deerfield. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you for 15% off.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Federal prosecutors are charging an active Army reservist and his wife with identity theft, device fraud, and wire fraud after they concocted a scheme to resell Kohl's cash certificates online. Staff Sergeant Robert Gordon and Diana Gordon ran a Twitter account where they encouraged people to post photos of Kohl's purchases with serial numbers they redeemed later. Brewers got some revenge on the Astros yesterday, winning 6-3 in 14 innings. They are off today as they travel to San Francisco for a weekend series against the Giants. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison. Partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. Friday highs of 76 with mostly cloudy skies. Saturday highs around 70 with rain in the forecast. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's political talk.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. The political party line, talk or text 844-967-2789. Callers, be patient. I want to play a little bit more audio for all of us. Pelosi and Blumenthal Graham got a few cuts, and we'll get back to the phones. Pelosi, cut 101, Fancy Brian talking about Trump not knowing right from wrong. Really?
Yesterday, the president gave us once again evidence that he does not know right from wrong.
If he has the thought, it's right. Let's continue, 102.
It's a very sad thing that he does not know right from wrong.
It's sad. It's dangerous. It is dangerous for this man to remain in the White House. This man would sell every one of us out for just a little bit more. Cut 103.
For the president to be so cavalier, to disregard, to be indifferent to law and any sense of ethics about who we are as a country, to say he would invite foreign intervention.
Speaker Pelosi, he didn't just say he would invite, he just did again. He invited them. He wants it. He will take it. Let's continue on Pelosi about mandated reporting, 104.
It shouldn't even, it's so self-evident as a matter of ethics, but we'll have to codify it.
Okay, here, I got an idea for a new law. if foreign intelligence services and foreign state actors want to involve themselves in your campaign, you gotta tell the FBI about it. Let's just go out on a limb here.
This is as basic as signing a bill into law that says you have to wipe your own ass.
Right. Oh.
I can't believe we have to tell the president to actually wipe himself, and we have to codify it into law to make him do it.
But unfortunately, even doing that and putting it into law, I'm not convinced that he would. Let's continue on. A couple more from Pelosi, 105.
How much more can they bear of the president's unethical behavior that they think that they are honoring their oath of office? And I believe these are all connected. I think it's all about money.
Well, that is true, but I would have to ask you, Speaker Pelosi, when are you going to get on that impeachment bandwagon? Cut 106.
It's about investigating. It's about litigating. It's about getting the truth to hold everyone accountable, and no one is above the law.
All right, we do have multiple investigations going on. There is some information getting passed to the miscellaneous committees, but certainly not fast enough as far as I'm concerned. Richard Blumenthal, he chimed in as well. Let's hear him at 107.
I wish I were surprised, but frankly, the American people have seen that Donald Trump lives in a moral cesspool.
He certainly does. He loves it too, man. He thrives in the moral cesspool. Republican Lindsey Graham, do declare, had something to say as well. Let's go with 108.
It already is, I think, but I'm willing to make it clear if we need to.
He's referring to foreign interference. He believes it is already illegal, and he's willing, to sign a bill? Thank you. A law to wipe your ass. Cut 109.
That's not the right answer. If a foreign government comes to you as a public official and offers to help your campaign, giving you anything of value, whether it be money or information on your opponent, the right answer is no.
What? Is there a horse in the background there? Sorry.
The right answer is no. Lindsey Graham says no. The FBI director says no. Trump says yes. Let's keep going. 110, Republican Lindsey Graham.
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake of law.
Let's continue.
I want us to come out of the 2016 election with some real bright lines that no party should be hiring foreign agents to look at their opponents, and we shouldn't be taking meetings.
Well, where were you when Trump was doing all that? And how has this changed at all? I mean, I know you're not a fan of the Mueller report. I don't have your specific quote regarding that report, but I'm pretty sure you're a no collusion, no obstruction kind of guy, Graham. But that's exactly what was detailed in there. 140 contacts with Russian officials from the Trump campaign. Not one, not two, not three, 140 documented in the Mueller report. That was happening. That's your president. That's the guy you're supporting. That's the guy who said he'd do it again, Graham. How is anything you're saying now going to stop the president from doing that? Let's keep going. A couple more from Graham. Then we'll get your calls. 844-967-2789. 112, please.
I can only speak for myself. I've never had a government come up to me and say, hey, I'd like to help you in your campaign. The answer is no. It's got to be no.
He's never had anyone come up to him and say, can I help you in your campaign?
Well, and again, it goes to the very unique qualities that President Trump brings to the table. Not many folks were in negotiation with the government of Moscow to build a Trump Tower and give the penthouse of $50 million value to President Putin. You know, not many people have been involved. Not many people have been involved with Miss Universe pageant in Russia, or building Trump Towers in Georgia, or all the worldwide influences and reach that the Trump organization has. You know, most people running for Congress, they don't have that kind of network, and that's what makes it that much more scary, and it makes it that much more dangerous for a guy like Trump, who of course still has control of all of his organizations. All the kids are doing it. My ass. This guy has not dropped anything as far as I'm concerned. He's still pulling all the strings. And now, Lindsey Graham, I do declare, is all of a sudden butthurt about this. He's already done it once. He's going to do it again, and yet you stand with him. Let's finish it up 113.
We don't want parties to be hiring foreign agents, and we don't want to have meetings with representatives of foreign governments trying to help one campaign over the other.
And do we have any more from him? That's it? Lindsey Graham. There you go. Forceful rejection of Trump's offer to accept more help from hostile foreign intelligence agencies to stick it to the libtards. Let's get to the phones. 844-967-2789. Jake, you've been patient. Thank you, sir. What do you got for us today?
Dude, just mellow out, man. Treason is patriotic now. Don't you get it?
Oh, see? I'm looking at it all wrong.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, hey, anybody, Republicans can do it, and it's awesome, but anyone else who does it, man, that's treason. You know what I mean? But if Republicans do it, it's cool. I mean, because, they get something for it, and then they just have to pay the people back for it, but, hey, whatever. I mean, Putin, he gets everything. But, actually, though, Kim Jong-un the other day, Trump said that he would have stopped the CIA to do anything to get the
right. Kim Jong-un's half-brother was reported as being some sort of a CIA asset, and apparently met, not too long with CIA handlers prior to his assassination.
And Trump went against the CIA, not like I love the CIA or anything, but defended Kim Jong-un, a dictator.
Okay? I wouldn't do that. That wasn't my doing. That must have been that last president who made this connection.
So he goes on George Stephanopoulos and he says, hey, I will commit criminal conspiracy against my country to go after my political enemy.
Hey, Jake, it's only criminal conspiracy if you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's why we use this really cool high-tech gadgets that, either destroy the data or encrypt the data to such a degree that, sleuths like Mueller and Congress, they can't find out for sure. So we get away with it, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, but Gary's he's way ahead of the skill. We're going to hear what Gary said. That's going to be coming the rest of this week and the next week. Hey, well, you would use it anyway, so whatever, So which means it's trying to normalize treason, And that's what's coming down the pipe, man. That's what they're doing, and they're having a hard time doing it this time. But really, Republicans, you guys are cowards. You're proving.
Right, where's the patriotism? Don't Republicans like to think they own the patriotism? We stand for the flag and kneel for the cross, and this is a Christian nation, and, build that wall, and all those kinds of things. And here's a guy who just told all of you Trumpsters out there, he just told you he will stick it to you or stick it to anybody if he can get some information to help him win, regardless of the source of that information. Be it Norway or a foreign intelligence hostile organization, it's all fair game for the Republicans. That is not patriotism under any definition, Jake.
I know, and to be honest, as of right now, every Republican, maybe except for Justin Amish out there, almost every conservative has abdicated their right to be a representative in the United States of America by not coming off and saying you are wrong, Trump. That is tantamount to treason. At least saying something, but they're not saying anything.
Yeah, well, and what they are saying, Jake, is so. If you listen to the words of Lindsey Graham, they're not saying much. And regardless, they're not fit to serve, Jake. I guess that's the way I would characterize the Republicans right now. If you don't stand up against what this guy is saying, what he is advocating, if you do not push back against that with no comparisons to Fusion GPS and the Steele dossier and no, this has nothing to do with that. Entirely different situation. We can go down those roads. Fusion GPS, well, that was started with Glenn Simpson, that's based in Washington. And let's not forget who started this investigation into Trump. It was Paul Singer, Washington Free Beacon conservative, never Trumper, Scott Walker backer. Paul Singer started this whole thing. And then when Trump looked like he was going to win, well, Singer's not going to fund it now because he's a Republican, right? So what happens? Well, they shop it around. We got this info. What can we do with it? Well, take it to the Dems. Oh, the Dems, they like Fusion GPS. They go out and they hire, an FBI informant. Steele, right? And this is a guy who worked for MI6 for a while, and he's been an asset for America, kind of patriotic in a way. Came up with some dirt. Oh, man, what about this? What about that? My contacts say this. Well, we know the rest of the story. So because of what? Fusion GPS, Paul Singer, conservative Republican, Glenn Simpson, based in Washington, D.C., you're going to compare that to Russian intelligence services? To specific contacts with the administration and Russian intelligence services, to coordination and conspiracy with those services to hack into the DNC to get some emails, to roll it out during the election through WikiLeaks? Remember all the times WikiLeaks was brought up by the president? Oh, WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks. Loved them, loved them, loved them. Loved the new release from WikiLeaks. You should read WikiLeaks. All about it. All that, that's okay. That is okay. And today or yesterday, I guess, and even today, I'm not sure Trump is backing away from this at all. This is the way we're doing business going forward.
And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said.
Yeah, amen, Brian. 844-967-2789. It is a new low. It's a new playing field. And I don't know, do we adapt to it? Do we try to change the field, or do we accept these new rules? Certainly Congress, if they're going to move on some law making it mandatory that the campaigns or public officials or wannabe public officials, if they're contacted by nefarious sources, they have to report it. That's where we're at. Mark from the SAC, you are up. Thanks for calling today. Mark, what do you got?
Gary, the answer is no. I mean, you don't need it. It's not something you need to debate at all. The answer is no. The first words out of your mouth should have been no. It shouldn't have been but. No, the answer is no. And you already hit on the point for the Christopher, the dossier. I mean, Kevin McCarthy from California is trying to ride that again. And the whole point of it is you brought it up. Originally Republican funded, and this Christopher Steele, the guy who did a good deal of the work on it, he was so freaked out by what he had heard and seen and found out that he reported it to the FBI. I mean that he was being an ally, true ally because he was in Russian counterintelligence when he was at MI6. I mean that all these Republicans need to decry what Donald Trump just did. I mean they need to condemn that in no uncertain terms. Period. I mean, and Gary, you better look to your conscience, my man. You know that the answer here is no. You don't hem and haw and say, well, let's see what the information is first.
Right? Is it good information? Can I use it?
Is it good information? No, you just that. What was it? When Al Gore got George Bush's prep notes, he turned it over. He didn't use it. I mean, there's such a thing as you're supposed to maintain some level of ethics in politics.
Oh, come on, Mark. Al Gore, loser. Al Gore's a loser. He didn't win.
Actually, he technically, let's not.
He what?
He technically did. Let's not get into it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the call, Mark. 844-967-2789. I mean, what traditions we have in this country when it gets a little politically hot? Hell, let's start a war. We have some sound from Pompeo today. We're going to play that speech. A couple of bombs went off on some oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. And apparently, Pompeo says it's Iran's fault, but didn't offer any specific intelligence on that. We're going to play a little bit of that and more of your reaction. 844-967-2789. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
It's a very sad thing that he does not know right from wrong.
How does he explain it to his colleagues and family? They'll think he doesn't know how to wipe his ass properly.
Faux.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamster Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's e-bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's e-bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Hey, Milwaukee, do you have an office to clean out or close out? Don't call the junk man. Call my friends at Madison Liquidators. Sustainability is their business model. They'll pick up and recycle and refurbish your used furniture. They'll help keep your old office furniture out of the landfill. Find them online at MadisonLiquidators.com. Call Madison Liquidators, 608-831-1012. Madison Liquidators. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us on the phones at 844-967-2789. Callers, please be patient. Get to you momentarily. Got a couple of minutes of Secretary of State Pompeo talking about this attack in off the coast of Iran and Saudi Arabia. We have some sound in it. You're going to do this in audition, so we can just stop it if we want to there, Brian? Okay, let's do this. Good
afternoon.
There we go. Thank you. Roll it out. And Pompeo today.
Good afternoon. It is the assessment of the United States government that the Islamic Republic of Iran is responsible for the attacks that occurred in the Gulf of Oman today. This assessment is based on intelligence, the weapons used, the level of expertise needed to execute the operation, recent similar Iranian attacks on shipping, and the fact that no proxy group operating in the area has the resources and proficiency to act with such a high degree of sophistication. This is only the latest in a series of attacks instigated by the Islamic Republic of Iran and its surrogates against American and allied interests. And they should be understood in the context of 40 years of unprovoked aggression against freedom-loving nations. On April 22nd, Iran promised the world that it would interrupt the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. It is now working to execute on that promise. In early May, the Revolutionary Guard Corps attempted the covert deployment of modified dhows capable of launching missiles. On May 12th, Iran attacked 4 commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz. On May 14th, Iran-backed surrogates attacked by armed drones struck 2 strategically important oil pipelines in Saudi Arabia. On May 19th, a rocket landed near the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. On May 31st, a car bomb in Afghanistan wounded 4 U.S. service members, killed 4 Afghan civilians, and wounded bystanders. Yesterday, Iranian surrogates fired a missile into Saudi Arabia, striking the arrivals terminal of an international airport, injuring 26 people. Taken as a whole, these unprovoked attacks present a clear threat to international peace and security, a blatant assault on the freedom of navigation, and an unacceptable campaign of escalating tension by Iran. Prime Minister Abe made a historic trip to Iran to ask the regime to de-escalate and enter into talks. Iran's supreme leader rejected Prime Minister Abe's diplomacy today by saying he has no response to President Trump and will not answer. The supreme leader's government then insulted Japan by attacking a Japanese oil tanker just outside of Iranian waters, threatening the lives of the entire crew, creating a maritime emergency. Iran's foreign minister today responded to these attacks. He said sardonically, quote, "Suspicious doesn't begin to describe what likely transpired this morning," end of quote. Foreign Minister Zarif may think this is funny, but no one else in the world does. Iran is lashing out because the regime wants our successful maximum pressure campaign lifted. No economic sanctions entitle the Islamic Republic to attack innocent civilians, disrupt global oil markets, and engage in nuclear blackmail. The international community condemns Iran's assault on the freedom of navigation and the targeting of innocent civilians. Today I've instructed our UN Ambassador Jonathan Cohen to raise Iran's attacks in the UN Security Council meeting later this afternoon. Our policy remains an economic and diplomatic effort to bring Iran back to the negotiating table at the right time, to encourage a comprehensive deal that addresses the broad range of threats. Threats today apparent for all the world to see, to peace and security. Iran should meet diplomacy with diplomacy, not with terror, bloodshed, and extortion. The United States will defend its forces, interests, and stand with our partners and allies to safeguard global commerce and regional stability. And we call upon all nations threatened by Iran's provocative acts to join us in that endeavor. Thank you.
Pompeo commenting today on the incidents, on the bombing of two tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, or as Mark on our Facebook page put it, I love the smell of the Gulf of Tonkin in the morning. Kathy from Madison, you will have the last word this hour. Thank you for calling. What do you got for us today?
Okay, I just wanted to say that the crime that Trump committed, he committed a long time ago. So I don't know why it's taken us this long to get so serious about it, but I'm glad that we have. But the crime that he committed was our country was cyber attacked, an attack that is no different than taking tanks across our border. It was a cyber attack on our election, on our democratic election. And Trump has done not one single thing about it. He basically doesn't even believe it, but the fact is he's done nothing to stop it. He's done nothing to prevent it from happening again. That's the biggest, largest crime that he has committed in my mind. And that's the one we let him get away with.
Thank you for the call, Kathy. Well, he's gotten away with it so far. And Mitch McConnell, Republicans, they are also guilty. If they're not, where's the funding to make sure that our elections are safe? And Pompeo, sorry, this administration lacks all credibility. All credibility. That's the danger of having a hack in the White House. You cannot believe anything that comes out of this administration. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. More to come. The happy hour is right around the corner. We'll be joined by our friend Maggie Daun, Dawn of the Resistance. Her show starts at 6. She'll jump in sometime in the 5 o'clock hour, plus more of your calls at 844-967-2789.
If you missed something on the Devil's Advocates, don't worry. After you get over your shame, you can check out domandcroot.com. Podcasts and interviews updated daily.
Russia, if you're listening.
Wisconsin, home to the world's best cheese, best beer, and best football fans in America. But unfortunately, Wisconsin is also home to something else. Tens of thousands of citizens who just can't afford health care. We're talking friends and neighbors struggling to take care of themselves and their families. Many working long hours, or sometimes 2 jobs, in industries like retail, construction, childcare, and agriculture. Jobs that don't always offer benefits or pay wages high enough to allow someone to afford coverage on their own. That's why it's time the legislature fully expanded Badger Care for people making less than $8.50 an hour. It's a smart investment for our state, saving lives and taxpayer dollars, providing affordable health coverage for our citizens. Get the facts at betterbadgercare.com. Then tell your legislator to take action today. It's the right thing to do right now. Paid for by Citizen Action of Wisconsin.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Gulf tension, appeal for calm. I'm Barbara Cusack. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo zeroed in on the offending nation as 2 oil tankers near the strategic Strait of Hormuz came under a suspected attack today.
It is the assessment of the United States government that the Islamic Republic of Iran is responsible for the attacks that occurred in the Gulf of Oman today. This assessment is based on intelligence.
Correspondent Barbara Starr says such action in the Gulf could prove costly in many ways.
Within hours of this attack, oil prices skyrocketed. All of this tension in the Persian Gulf region could cost all of us more at the gas tank.
Police appealed for calm in a tense Memphis neighborhood today, where about 36 officers were injured by rock-throwing crowd following a black man's shooting death by U.S. Marshals on a fugitive task force late yesterday. Correspondent Ryan Young reports the man was wanted on multiple felony warrants.
The U.S. Marshal Service tried to arrest Brandon Weber. When they arrived at the location, he tried to use his car as a ram, according to the Marshals Service. Once they pinned him in, they claimed that he got out of his car with a gun in his hand, and at some point, they opened fire on him.
The top 2 Republicans in the House avoided addressing directly whether it was appropriate for President Trump to say he'd listened to damaging information from a foreign entity about a political opponent. But Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney calls such conduct a mistake.
That would be simply unthinkable for a candidate for president to accept that involvement, to encourage it, to participate with it in any way, shape, or form. It would strike at the very heart of our democracy.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders will be leaving her post at the end of the month and go back to her home state of Arkansas. President Trump said he hopes she decides to run for governor of Arkansas, as she would be fantastic. Stocks closed higher with the Dow up by 102 points. The S&P 500 added 12 points for the day, and the Nasdaq rose by 44 points. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Target hopes to hit the bullseye with increased sales with its same-day delivery service.
To compete with online shopping, large chain stores have been doing all sorts of things to keep customers coming back to their brick-and-mortar locations, like shopping online and picking up orders in store or having them delivered to the car curbside. Well, now Target is one-upping the competition by expanding its experimental same-day delivery service to 47 states. Target bought the home delivery service Shipt in 2017. Now it's using that company to deliver Target orders to customers for $9.99 per order. Shipt also has a $99 annual membership option. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
The Warriors host the Raptors for Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight.
And not to mention,
have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
For WROD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos declined an opportunity to have the Pew Charitable Trust review a program overseeing over 65,000 people on parole, probation, and extended supervision. Vos refused to sign the request for help, claiming Pew was biased. This is according to staff emails obtained by the Journal-Sentinel. A couple of old buildings are finding new uses in Milwaukee. A former Schlitz Tavern on the corner of Humboldt and North Avenue in River West is slated to be converted into condos, and a 3-story mansion on Marshall Street in Milwaukee's east side will be renovated starting in September into a 15-room hotel that will open in time for the DNC in 2020. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison. Partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. You're listening to WROD and WTTN, Wisconsin's political talk.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
And welcome to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It is the happy hour, and I'm joined right now, so super happy, our pal Maggie Daun, host of Dawn of the Resistance, 6 to 7 o'clock Thursdays and Fridays. Maggie, thanks for coming a little early today.
You betcha, Dom. Good to be here.
It is always so much fun hanging out with you and talking politics and life. And
talking smack.
Talking smack with our pal Maggie Daun. But since you're here, and we've been talking about it, Donald Trump's comments to George Stephanopoulos regarding
unreal,
taking information from hostile foreign sources. Totally okay.
So you and I have been arguing about impeachment for a month plus.
Yes.
I might actually be getting there.
Oh, really?
This, and I'm going to hammer it on my show for probably the first 30 minutes. This is so far beyond the pale. I don't think this guy actually understands government or what is appropriate for the leader of the free world to do. And if he does understand it, it's almost worse because then he doesn't care at all.
Right. Is it the ignorance that's more scary, or is it the willful acts that he's perpetuating? Regardless
of the cause, the effect is the same. And that is a continuous race to the bottom. What does this... It's just a stinking free-for-all?
Yes, new rules.
Syria, why don't you send us some dirt on Donald Trump? That's all fair game. Iran, hey, we might be bumping warships, but send us some dirt on Donald Trump. North Korea, there is simply no bottom. When you look into the future, it is a vast, dark, bottomless pit of complete and utter amorality where the ends in every case, and yes, Mitch McConnell, I am talking to you, justifies absolutely any means necessary. That's what he's saying. Any means necessary. Totally fine. And this idea that it's somehow that there's some equivalency to the Clinton campaign paying for opposition research in the traditional way and the compilation of the Steele dossier is a complete and utter false equivalency. It's not the same.
But they're sure trying to make it seem like it's the same.
And even if it were, Yeah, it's the Democrats proposing legislation to stop this.
Right. Are the Republicans going to sign on?
Hell no. I mean,
how could they not? I mean, at this point.
Dom, literally, have you no shame, sir? No soul. Like, eventually these guys are going to have to meet their maker. And she's going to be really mad.
Nice. Well, here's a...
You like that?
I do like that. A couple of quotes. Maggie Daun from Politico. Republican, Lindsey Graham. The law is pretty clear. You can't take anything of value from a foreign government. He says, I didn't say I did. I said sitting down and talking to someone is not a crime, but it's probably not a good idea. I don't agree with you. That's what Graham said. Let's hear a couple more. Senator Mitt Romney, you know, that conservative.
Mitt.
Accepting the work product of a foreign government or the effort of a foreign government to try and influence an election for one candidate over another, it simply strikes at the heart of our democracy. It's wrong. It's antithetical to our democratic principles.
Duh. I mean, this has to get explained. I mean, this is what Trump has done. By blasting through any sort of sense of normalcy or the norms that would govern candidates, it's like, hey, Donald Trump, the sky is blue, grass is green, up is up, north is north. Like, we have to now legislate the most basic things, which is you cannot take intel from our enemies to help your own personal political ends.
Yeah, but what if it helps our own personal political ends?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Refer back to point 1, which is any means are totally fine as long as the ends benefits Donald Trump personally. That's what he's saying, people. It just doesn't matter.
More Republican response. Senator James Lankford, a Republican from Oklahoma. I was just surprised he wouldn't say he would immediately turn it over to the FBI or the DOJ. There are going to be international conversations all the time. There's no way to avoid that, but the natural thing is to be able to turn it over. Senator Tom Tillis, here's another one. Now, this is interesting.
Tom Tillis.
You have to report it to authorities. Generally speaking, it's part of, in the case of Russia, it's an effort to disrupt our elections. But he goes on to say, my first call would be to the FBI. My second call would be somebody to corroborate the information.
i.e., I'm still going to take it and use it. I mean...
But I'll report it first.
Right. Again, have you no shame, sir? We're talking about espionage by a foreign enemy, an enemy of our democracy. Putin is an authoritarian leader governing a regime that wants to execute LGBTQ people. Listen, you can be the most conservative evangelical ever. I don't think we're going to actually hear of conservative evangelicals advocating for the execution of LGBTQ people. Oh, but wait!
Oh, yes, we will. We'll get there. Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It is. It's a great introduction, but we're not doing it yet. We're going to tease that one. We'll come back with that.
So, yeah, stick with us on it. But this is beyond. And so the interesting thing that they're talking about is that the question here is Oppo research something of value?
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Otherwise, you wouldn't seek it.
Correct. And hence, it's already prohibited by law. So now we have to extra legislate this.
Extra laws. Don't they always?
Extra.
Republicans always say gun laws. Oh, we already got gun laws, and we don't need more damn gun laws.
Well, it's like voter ID, right? Like we don't actually need that. There's no such thing as voter fraud. But let's just extra legislate that just in case. This is what's going to happen here. Congress, again, you've got Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff. Coming out and saying, we are now going to have to propose legislation that makes this illegal, which makes the other thing that I'm going to talk about in detail during my show this afternoon from 6 to 7 is that the brief that Donald Trump just filed on Tuesday in the federal appeals court for the D.C. Circuit is one of the most scary bits of anti-democratic principles I have ever laid my legal eagle eyes on.
Really?
Because it basically says that the president is above the law. It makes the argument that most constitutional law classes begin with to the shock and horror of all first-year law students.
Which is?
And that is what came out of Richard Nixon's mouth. And that is, if the president did it, it means it's not illegal. And this is Con Law 101. That's how most professors start the course.
While we're making new legislation, Maggie Daun, how about we throw one in there that says a sitting president can be indicted for X, Y, and Z. How about we just totally nullify that whole Department of Justice, Office of Legal Counsel recommendation that they cannot, because of course, the origins of that had nothing to do
No, it
with
was
where
about a
we're at.
criminal vice president taking bags of money in the Oval Office. But, I
Literally,
digress.
I mean, taking bags of money in the Oval Office. I mean, what a life, man. You know what I'm saying?
The 70s.
Oh, the good times. All right, but I mean, should we not, obviously, we have to write laws now to push back against this, the way that Trump wants to do business. And Republicans are seemingly along. We read a couple. There's other quotes of Republicans pushing back against Trump on this. But shouldn't we also, if we're going to write laws, get rid of that OLC?
Yes, 1,000%. This would seem to be pretty low-hanging fruit. The idea that a president is above the law and simply cannot be held to account for criminal actions, to me, seems completely contradictory to an elected Democratic government. That's ridiculous. Of course they can. And that should be in addition to an impeachment proceeding. We're living in a moment where an impeachment proceeding is not going to be the sufficient remedy that our framers once thought it could be, right? That the politics of the day and the soullessness of Senate Republicans are clearly making impeachment and his actual removal from office a political impossibility. Nonetheless, I believe we have now reached a moment in time, and I'm taking both his comments to Stephanopoulos and this brief that was filed together. And to me, Dom, for me as an attorney, I'm now at a place where I may be turning the page on impeachment. And even if it means that Democrats, oh my gosh, might lose in 2020, that this is simply too far, that you would actively accept and find no problem and be untroubled by accepting the fruits of active espionage, undermining our democracy because it serves your individual personal ends, is elevating the individual not just above the office of the presidency, but above our own democracy. And that is something that every single American should be deeply, deeply troubled by. It is simply beyond the pale. To couple that with this brief that was filed that asserts the argument that Nixon made and that every con law student laughs at, a president can simply not be above the law. So yes, does Congress need to now legislate the abundantly obvious?
Articulate that, I guess? Codify it? I mean, ultimately, we could have, if that's the theory that the GOP supports, we could have any president act entirely on the behest of another foreign government for 4 years, regardless of the consequence, and there is not a damn thing anybody in this country could do about it.
Correct. There's a 2-word phrase for it. It's called a Manchurian candidate. I mean, that's who this guy is. And listen, by the by, most of the stuff in the Steele dossier actually came out and proved by Mueller's report to be true. So I'm going with the P-tape happened, and Trump works for Putin.
We are the Devil's Advocates. That's Maggie Daun, Dawn of the Resistance. Her solo show starts in about 40 minutes. In the meantime, join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
The American dream is dead. But other than that, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
We the people, the hardworking 99% of men and women, only have a voice when we join together as one and amplify our message. Now is the time for all Wisconsinites to join We the People and raise our voices. Do you feel like you are wasting your money funding unaccountable consultants, unresponsive candidates, and their campaigns? Help us do something that really matters. Please join We the People. Give what you can so we can support progressive radio stations like this one, using the public airwaves to educate Wisconsin about what we the people want for our state and remind Wisconsin's politicians that they work for us. Your donations to We the People at p4ppc.org, a registered, compliant IRS 501c3, will always be tax deductible, will always remain anonymous, and We the People pledge to spend 100% of donations educating Wisconsin on the issues our donors want discussed, giving individuals a voice in the collective message of We the People. Please give today at p4ppc.org. That's p4ppc.org. We the People need you.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. Teamsterslocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. Tom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Crudy on vacation. I've got a fine guest host. Her name is Maggie Daun. She's host of Dawn of the Resistance. She'll be coming up on her show at 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Maggie, thank you for joining me.
Of course, Dom. Happy to be here. It's like Friday for me. Doing a little charity golfing tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
The scramble. So maybe I'll hit like 3 balls decently.
And that's all you
my
need.
contribution.
Long as you, maybe a putt. We'll
One long putt. That's right. A 10-foot pluser.
You did your job.
That's right.
844-967-2789. Let's get some callers in. Tom from Milwaukee, you are next. Thanks for calling, Tom. What do you got?
Well, I was just wondering, Dom, I'm wondering why you guys get so worked up about a hypothetical when you didn't seem to be all that worked up when Benghazi happened and the fake story and the protection of the president.
Well, were you listening back then, Tom? Because I had my comments about Benghazi. But what hypothetical are you referring to specifically? The Stephanopoulos?
That he would if it was offered, blah, 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 well, whatever,
but how is it just a whatever, Tom? I mean, you're talking about a foreign intelligence agency, an enemy working with a candidate, and Trump says, as a candidate, as a president, as an incumbent president, he would absolutely do it. And you're fine with that, Tom.
You're getting a little excited about nothing that...
Tell me where I'm wrong, Tom.
What are you talking about, Tom? It happened. Past tense. Happened, period. That's the Mueller report, part 1. That is the Mueller report, part 1. Every single one of our national intelligence agencies says that Russia assisted Trump getting elected. He had a meeting that he dispatched his son to receive dirt on Hillary Clinton from the Russians. It happened.
What was the dirt?
They didn't come up with it, but the point is he has demonstrated, at that meeting.
Let Tom.
Nothing happened.
All right, Tom. But here's the answer, Tom. Here's what happened. The dirt was the effort. It was the hack. Okay, that's what they coordinated. They coordinated. They're going to hack it. We got information. We got into the DNC servers.
Correct.
We're going to release this information, and we're going to do it through WikiLeaks. You see how that all happened? And then so that way Trump can say we didn't talk to Russia, and Russia can, of course, they're going to lie about it anyway. And WikiLeaks, while they're a journalistic outfit, they can do that. That's the play. That's what's in play, Tom. Now, you can either accept that. You can either accept that that's how it is described in the Mueller report, and that's what went down, or you can give me a different alternative. But right now, you just saying that it didn't happen isn't accurate, Tom. It's not a hypothetical.
Okay, Dom, what's happening is you're just trying to throw flack up there to make it sound like something happened.
Okay, what flack exactly?
Tom, have you read any of part 1 of the Mueller report? Have you actually read any of it?
Of course, no, I have not.
Of course, well, it's good to have informed debate here on the Devil's Advocate.
Oh, come on, Tom. I mean, I'd love to BS with you a little bit, but you got to come from a frame of reference. If you haven't even looked at the report... come on, man. How do you know what is and what is not in it? You're making false arguments, and I can't have a reasoned conversation with you if we don't agree on a certain set of facts. And that's I'm taking what the Mueller report has provided to us as a certain set of facts. Now, if you want to go out and challenge individual pieces, then bring your data, bring your sources. I'm all about it, sure. But that's what we know. Do I believe Mueller over Trump? You're damn right I do. Trump has been lying from day one. Trump has this administration, everything he touches, there's zero credibility on anything that they say. That is very dangerous, especially at a time when we're ratcheting up our issue with Iran right now. I mean, this is not okay. This is not okay, Tom. And yeah, I'm down with the argument, man. Have a conversation, but read at least the summaries of the report and get back to me, man. This isn't flack. I'm simply relaying to you the facts that have been made aware to me. There's emails, there's texts, there's electronics data that thankfully have not been deleted, have not been destroyed, has not been encrypted. That is the basis, a lot of this, plus the interviews with witnesses of the Mueller report. These things happen. Coordination happened. It did not rise, unfortunately, to the level of criminal conspiracy proven beyond a reasonable doubt. But don't act for 1 minute that 140 contacts with Russians isn't an effort to do this. And what Trump did today, he confirmed it. It was his O.J. Simpson, if I did it moment, and he's standing by it.
I mean, it's truly a sad moment if your argument, sir, is that the absence of criminal conduct is now the standard that we hold our president to. It's merely the absence of criminality? How absurd. Is it okay for Trump to accept spy information from Iran? Would that be acceptable from Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama? I think not. I mean, this is ridiculous. We don't conspire with our enemies to defeat our political opponents. If you want to get on the air and defend conspiring with our enemies to defeat political opponents because any means necessary is an acceptable standard of conduct for the shining American light on the hill, go ahead and make the argument. But that's one that makes my stomach churn, and I think it should make anybody's stomach churn. And fine, if you think Benghazi is an appropriate analogy, okay, fine. So what? That makes this somehow okay? Unreal. I don't understand it.
I wouldn't mind having Trump testify for 11 hours in front of some committees. I'd be totally fine with that. I'm down with that.
Yeah, the Benghazi hearings went well over the length of time that the Mueller investigation was conducted. I mean, get over it. What was the outcome of that? Yeah, no criminality. Outcome of Mueller? Yes, obstructed justice, active interference in our democratic process by Russia. What's going to keep me up at night? Yes, the active interference in our democratic process by Russia. Again, if Benghazi, if, it is a meaningful analogy to what Trump has done, what is described in the Mueller report, my response to you, sir, is so what? That makes this okay? For shame.
For shame, Tom. Shame that man. Shame that man.
You know what you need for 11 hours of testimony? Stamina.
Yes, you do. 844-967.
You have to be a stable genius.
89. Yes, he's very stable.
I'm a
genius.
very stable genius.
Join us on the phones. But what we're fighting against this, though, Maggie, is people's perception, right? They're arguing about something that truly they have not researched on their own. And I get it, but maybe saw a headline, but I saw something on Fox News or et cetera, et cetera. Not read, not informed, and I think, frankly, afraid to do it. Not only does it take the time to do it, but what you may read may go against every political and conservative instinct that you have.
Yeah, literacy in it is a biatch. I mean, come on. Just read some news. Any news. Pick up the Wall Street Journal if you're a conservative. Just read that.
Just listen to the Devil's Advocates. Listen to WRRD. Listen to Talk 92.7 Madison. You'll get yourself informed. 844-967-2789. Maggie Daun, Dominic, Fancy Brian. Back in a minute.
Want to see the super sexiest political show on earth? Check out the Devil's Advocates on YouTube.
I haven't changed very much. Been very consistent. I'm an extreme.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
We've got U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. Ron, in all seriousness, if this was Barack Obama, you'd be screaming, "Stormy, stormy, stormy," from the rooftops.
You're too young to understand this excuse. This would be the Sergeant Schultz answer. I know nothing.
But as the chair of the HISCAC, sir, Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee, you could get to the bottom of this, could you not, Ron?
I see nothing. I know nothing.
Making radio great again.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Wisconsin, home to the world's best cheese, best beer, and best football fans in America. But unfortunately, Wisconsin is also home to something else. Tens of thousands of citizens who just can't afford health care. We're talking friends and neighbors struggling to take care of themselves and their families. Many working long hours, or sometimes 2 jobs, in industries like retail, construction, childcare, and agriculture. Jobs that don't always offer benefits or pay wages high enough to allow someone to afford coverage on their own. That's why it's time the legislature fully expanded Badger Care for people making less than $8.50 an hour. It's a smart investment for our state, saving lives and taxpayer dollars, providing affordable health coverage for our citizens. Get the facts at betterbadgercare.com. Then tell your legislator to take action today. It's the right thing to do right now. Paid for by Citizen Action of Wisconsin.
Got unwanted pests in your home or business? Call Get Rid Pest Control at 414-368-0696. State licensed and certified with over 20 years experience, Get Rid Pest Control guarantees their work in the removal of common household pests, including mice, rats, ants, roaches, spiders, centipedes, and bedbugs. Humane trapping and removal of larger pests as well. Unmarked vehicles available upon request. 24-hour emergency service available. Call Get Rid Pest Control today for your free estimate. 414-368-0696. If you got it, we'll get it.
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Milwaukee County Supervisor Deanna Alexander has been named interim administrator and clerk of the village of Newburgh. Alexander made news when she sued the state of Wisconsin when she was fired for speaking out against sexual harassment and refusing to provide false data to a nonprofit group that advocates on behalf of abused and neglected children. Scott Walker was dismissed as a defendant, but that case remains open, all of which was news to Newburgh's village president, who says, "I know nothing about that." Cedarburg City Council has blocked CBD stores from opening shop in its historical district. Highs today in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, close to 70 in Madison, partly cloudy skies overnight, lows in the 50s. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's Political Talk.
Kicking ass and taking names since the Wisconsin Uprising. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones at 844-967-2789. That beautiful being next to me is not Crudy. That's Maggie Daun, host of Dawn of the Resistance. Her show starts in about 27 minutes. You got 2 of us until then, and Fancy Brian. We got some phone callers. Let's get to them. Brock from Madison. Horicon. Hey, Brock, welcome back to the show. What do you got?
So I'm listening to Bush's playbook. I have crappy numbers. They're on to me with a bunch of different things that I'm probably going to be in trouble for if I don't stay in the presidency. How do I get reelected? I start a fake war with, I start aggravating somebody. We get into a conflict. Most of the time, it seems like people reelect the sitting president when there's an ongoing conflict. It almost seems like it's that kind of strategy. I don't know what you get out of Iran because they're playing along. We have them sign a nuclear deal. They're doing exactly what the deal says. There's no reason to be there. There's no reason to be there.
Amen, Brock. I mean, there's a movie that they made about it. It's called Wag the Dog. It's the
Yep,
old.
I've seen it from a
Look
long
over
time
here.
ago.
Yeah. It's a classic. If you haven't seen that, everybody should go check that out. It's literally distraction.
Well, and Brock, of course, we have history on this as well. I'm going to pull this up briefly. This is from the United U.S. Naval Institute, usni.org. And bear with me briefly. You're talking about the Gulf of the Tonkin incident. Secretary McNamara. Again, this is from the report. A little history here. Let me throw it out to you. During this is the escalation in Vietnam, which justified the legislation to get further into Vietnam. The Secretary, McNamara, intentionally misled Congress and the public about his knowledge and the nature of the operations, which surely would have been perceived as the actual cause of the August 2nd attack. I'm not going to get into it, but let's just leave it out there as the guy misled us. Continuing. On August 6th, when called before a joint session of the Senate Foreign Relations and Armed Services Committee to testify about the incident, McNamara eluded the questioning of Senator Wayne Morse, a Democrat from Oregon, when he asked specifically whether the operations may have provoked the North Vietnamese response. McNamara instead declared that, quote, our Navy played absolutely no part in, was not associated with, was not aware of any South Vietnamese actions, if there were any. And this goes on to say, later that day, McNamara lied when he denied knowledge of the provocative patrols at a Pentagon news conference. When asked by a reporter if he knew of any confrontation between the South and North Vietnamese navies, he responded, no, none that I know of. They operate on their own. They are part of the South Vietnamese Navy, operating in coastal waters, inspecting suspicious incoming junk, seeking to deter and prevent the infiltration of both men and material. Another reporter pressed the issue to McNamara. Do these patrol boats go north into North Vietnamese waters? McNamara again eluded the question. They have advanced closer and closer to the 17th parallel, and in some cases, I think they have moved beyond that in an effort to stop the infiltration closer to the point of origin. I guess my point in all of this.
And explain the context here. When McNamara was so testifying and then talking to the press, he was completely and utterly, totally lying. It was an intentional provocation of the North Vietnamese, which then provided the excuse for the escalation of the conflict in Vietnam. So it's exactly to your point, Brock.
And this is, I think this administration makes the Nixon administration
look like doves.
Saints, yes,
Amateurs,
absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, listen,
Make
John
them look like
Bolton.
amateurs.
Yeah, John Bolton. If given his druthers, would start dropping bombs tomorrow. I mean, the guy is about as hawkish as a person can possibly get about foreign policy.
So what I'm wondering is, how many different felonies do you have to commit, and how many different felons do you have to be associated with before you just are? I don't even know about impeachment. I think that I'd like to see him start it, if for no other reason than for discovery purposes, because the longer they can drag it out, the longer they can figure out what's under the carpet. I think that behooves everybody, including the American public. And better yet, the Republicans could have had this wrapped up because they knew this crap was going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
But instead, they did pull a Benghazi where they wasted money. They looked the other way. We had some dog and pony show. It was like a Russian circus, all tumblers and acrobats and no animals. And we didn't get anything out of it. It's just a total show.
Absolutely.
It's like when you go to the opera, everybody is in on the thing except for the person watching it. So I think this is crap. I think it's just a distractionary thing, but it does kind of give me a glimmer of hope, because we must really be getting close where they figure they have to go full court press and make everybody look the other way while they pull the curtain back and get rid of whatever's behind that curtain. I think it's going to end up tripping him up. But the part that I really get a kick out of is all of these people that have accused throughout the years Bernie Sanders of being a socialist or a communist or whatever, the person that they voted for actually is conspiring with communists. Actually is conspiring with communists. And it's not even that they're communists so much, they're also in bed with organized crime. So you have people accusing somebody who I can't find a policy that he's ever had that didn't do anything but help or promote or inspire the American people in Bernie Sanders. Yet he's the worst thing since sliced bread, and the person that they voted for is actually involved with communists. And he says in the thing, if I would accept help again, accept help again, well,
from a communist.
If you hadn't accepted help before, why are you using the word again? Again means we would repeat a previous thing. How many times does he have to admit to something before somebody arrests him?
Before we believe him,
Yeah,
Brock.
Brock, will you call up Tom, our friend, and explain all this to him? And by the way, if you want to know what the actual difference between communism, social democrats, and what's the third one? Social democrats and democratic socialism is, stay tuned, because I'm going to cover it during my 6 o'clock show. Look at that plug.
Informing our audience, Maggie Daun. Thank you, Brock, for the call, 844-967-2789. Now, let's remember this as well. People are giving Bernie Sanders a lot of flack for going over to Russia for his wedding, or, back in the day, back when it was still the old USSR. And how could anybody be holding something like that against Bernie Sanders when you have a president who today, once again, said that he would absolutely work with those Russian intelligence agencies to stick it to those liberals if he had the chance?
What's worse? Having a little trip to explore the history of the Soviet Union, or the P-tape? I don't know.
P-tape.
I'm keeping it really highbrow today. Do we have time for another caller before we go to break?
Yeah, we'll keep going. Oh, God, excuse me. 844-967-2789. Kurt from Madison, you're on with Maggie Daun and Dom and Fancy Brian. Thanks, Kurt. What do you got?
Well, Maggie, I'm sure glad you're on the show, and yes, I'll continue to listen. I want to take the opportunity to apply the same logic as Dave and Nick and Mike do about this situation. If we look at the 9/11 catastrophe, and we looked at the history of the Bush family, their ties to the Saudis, and the fact that they were able to leave the country without anyone knowing about it, no proper investigation. If we kept on going on the road, regardless if there was dirt or no dirt, that would be on the same grounds of their arguments of what they're trying to use with this situation, which is really not the same, because we actually had Mueller do actual investigation, our own group of professional experts,
mostly Republican,
look into a problem, and they're mostly Republican. Yet we must be in the history of the largest Stockholm syndrome of all time on this planet.
That's a great point. It is. It's scary, Kurt. And if what about this though, man? Be it Bush and the Saudi the Bin Laden family, right? Or be it this situation here. I mean, at what point? The point of this country is that the citizens are supposed to be able to self-govern. Right? And I'm not sure that we, Kurt, you and I, and you're getting a little loud there, man, I'm going to turn you down, that you and I are doing a whole lot of self-governing when we got oligarchs and billionaires setting policy and cutting deals with each other, regardless of political affiliations, regardless of countries, regardless of borders, because the super rich got one thing in common with all the other super rich: they're super rich.
Right. And they don't really care about regular working class folks.
Or the laws that we have to live by.
Absolutely. Listen, and I say to Tom and everybody like him who always wants to use the B word. When it gets hot in the kitchen, just mention Hillary Clinton. I mean, this is the party line. And rot before does not make rot okay now. I continue to always be baffled by that. It wasn't acceptable with the Bush's family's association with Bin Laden. It's not acceptable with the Trump and the Kushner family's connections to the UAE and Russia. I mean, this is all bad. And so making any reference to the Clintons or any other liberal, okay, if they're bad too, that sucks just as well. Doesn't weaken the point as to Trump being completely constitutionally unfit. He lacks a fundamental understanding of what the office of president in a democratic society serves to do. He is not a dictator. He is not, in fact, above the law. And if that's what this man thinks, which it is very clear to me this past week that he does, Every single person should be deeply concerned about the state of our democracy. We don't elect kings here. If you want that stuff, go back to Britain. Okay? Remember what led to our revolution. It wasn't just no taxation without representation. It was a rejection of a monarchy that was unelected. They are supposed to be, our presidents are supposed to be answerable to the public. And Congress, the Article 1 branch of government, the first branch of government that our framers created, helps us hold them accountable through their oversight responsibilities, a responsibility that the Trump White House has made clear they have no interest in permitting to occur. How is this democratic? It's simply not. Does this mean that every president from now on gets to commit crimes, be completely unaccountable to the Congress, refuse to produce any documents or witnesses when Congress is appropriately trying to uncover whether or not crimes committed so that they can do what, Dom? Legislate this stuff. It just defies any and all explanation.
Oh, the Dems just want a do-over, Maggie. You don't get do-overs. You know, in
I'll
life,
take a do-over.
In life, you don't get another quarter.
God, do I have to talk about the idiots that voted for Jill Stein and Gary Johnson again?
Hey, easy now. 844-967-2789. Let's get one more caller in this segment. Annie from Watertown, you are next. Thank you so much for calling. What do you got for us today?
Well, I don't know. There's just so much going on with diversion, and now we've got Pompeo saying the intel says this is Iranian fingerprints all over it. Everything.
Yeah, ironically enough, right?
Goofed. I think they goofed because it's a Japanese ship. Well, wait a minute. Japan gets its oil from Iran. Iran would not be messing with Japan. They're pretty much buddies. And we've got Israel and Saudi Arabia working together, trying to get us to go to war with Iran. I mean, this is crazy world. And apparently, unless Trump, I don't know, takes his pants off and plays with himself, and then everybody's going to say, well, he didn't break any law.
You can call back anytime. That's an excellent point.
Thank you for the call, Annie.
It's not even indecent exposure because if the president does it, it's not illegal.
Oh, that's terrible.
Boom. Yeah, this has been, again, one of the points that Don made earlier that I think bears repeating is a pretty basic one, and that is when the leader of the free world has zero foreign policy credibility.
No credibility whatsoever. I mean,
nothing
in foreign policy
is trustworthy. And I have to tell you, I know a lot of people who have worked in the Foreign Service, and the thing that enables our intelligence agencies to operate, our State Department to use shuttle diplomacy, backdoor channels, is that the word of diplomats, the word of our intelligence agents trying to recruit assets, is that they are trustworthy. This man has undone decades of work to build American credibility on the world stage. It cannot be rehabilitated simply by impeaching him or voting him out of office. The damage here is lasting and prolonged, and we have DJT and his merry band of idiots and criminals and felons to thank for it.
DJT, that's DJ Maggie Daun. I'm DJ Dom. That's Fresh Prince Fancy Brian. We are the Devil's Advocates. One last segment of the show left. Your calls, welcome at 844-967-2789.
I'm an extremely stable genius.
Fool me once, shame on.
How could your wife think there's a 1% chance you were with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind. Named Peas.
You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows it?
Electric bikes are exciting. E-bikes improve your health. E-bikes give you fun things to do this summer besides going out to eat.
Lynn, I have gotten chubby.
Lose weight, lower blood pressure.
But is it going to cost me $2,000?
No, at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, we have bikes for just $690. Get outside this summer. Ride the trails. Get an e-bike. Go up hills without pedaling. E-bikes only $690 at Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes, 6017 Odana Road.
You don't have to buy one. Just try one.
No, you don't have to buy one. Just try one.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
From Milwaukee to Madison, state government shapes our lives for better or worse. Let's talk about it. I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa. Join me for the Jocasta Show, Mondays at 6 p.m. on WRRD, 1510 a.m.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Exclamation point.
It just drives me down, and I feel like I'm broken to pieces.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day, but you can still join us on the phones, 844-967-2789. Maggie Daun, Dawn of the Resistance, her show coming up in 10 minutes, but she was gracious enough to bless us all with her presence today. Thank you, Maggie.
Of course, Dom. Always happy to join you
Oh,
guys.
it's so much fun. It goes so fast.
Especially when Crudy's not here to, like, muck up the whole machinery.
Especially when Crudy's not here.
Hopefully I smell a little better, too.
You smell great, baby. All right, we brought this one up earlier. We have to get to this. Here's the headline, Maggie Daun. Tennessee detectives church sermon calls for execution of LGBTQ people. Well,
charming.
Who does Jesus want to execute? Apparently, LGBTQ people. Here is the reporting of Brittany Cochner at the Knoxville News Sentinel. The Knox County Attorney General's office says it is looking into a church sermon by a Knox County Sheriff's detective that called for the government to arrest and execute LGBTQ community members in an hour-long video. And yes, you can find it. I tried to watch it, pull some pertinent sound, but after about
so gross
3 minutes, I just couldn't do it anymore. But you can find it on YouTube. Detective, this is a cop, Detective Grayson Fritz, also a pastor at the All Scripture Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee, tells his congregation he believes federal, state, and county governments should arrest, convict, and speedily, that's a quote, execute LGBTQ people on no more grounds than a cell phone photo showing participation in a pride event.
Yeah, my response to that was like, bye-bye Bayview, the 3rd Ward, the 5th Ward, the East Side, UWM.
Everybody's dead.
Yep.
I mean, only if you're Detective Grayson Fritz from Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's make sure we say his name often.
Yeah, we should look up, hey, Brian, can you find the Knoxville, Tennessee Police Department phone number and we can give it to everybody so they can demand this guy's immediate
absolutely.
firing?
I also just want to point out that if he's using scripture to go and justify a lot of this stuff, he's actually committing heresy.
Oh,
and he can also,
yes.
under the laws of the Catholic Church, I'm pretty sure he can be put to death for some form of heresy. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. Also, adultery is a felony in Wisconsin.
And no shellfish. Fritz delivered his sermon.
Interest.
He delivered no interest. No, of course not. He delivered his sermon June 2nd at the church near downtown Knoxville on the first Sunday of Pride Month, which honors the anniversary of the 1969 Stonewall riots, considered a galvanizing moment in the gay rights movement. Hell yes. And thank you, all those Stonewall people. All Scripture Baptist Church describes itself as an, quote, independent, fundamental, King James Bible only, soul-winning church. And they also go on to say, don't expect any liberal, watered down, or Let me rephrase it. Don't expect anything liberal, watered down, or contemporary here. It goes on to say, Fritz, the detective, also the pastor at this church, screams into the microphone, advocates for police riot teams to haul off pride participants en masse, and uses multiple slurs against the LGBTQ community. How would Jesus insult the LGBTQ community?
Yeah, I thought he was the guy that liked to hang out with, like, hookers and, the least of my people. I thought that was the Jesus guy that I read about, but I just not the King James Bible.
People tell me I'm kind of like Jesus.
Are you? It's the flowing mane.
Or the hanging out with hookers.
Well, that part too. That's pretty good stuff.
Fritz references his law enforcement career multiple times during the sermon. First telling the congregation, quote, such arrests and executions should be carried out by our government, not Christians. Pausing for laughter as he adds, unless you're a policeman.
Wow. I mean, who is sitting in this congregation? It has to be that you sit there, listen to this vileness, and then laugh with this joke. I got to tell you, and I think, Brian, do you have the number now, Brian?
I do indeed.
The Knox County Sheriff's Office?
Knox County Sheriff's non-emergency number.
Okay.
Non-emergency number. If you are threatened, if you are LGBTQ and you feel threatened,
or
and
an
you live
ally.
in Knox County or an ally, and you feel threatened by this, you should call your sheriff's department because they are there to protect you.
Yes.
865-215-2444. That's 865-215-2444.
One more time, please, Brian.
865-215-2444. That's the non-emergency number.
And this guy's name is?
His name, Detective Grayson Fritz.
Yeah. Call him up. Tell him you disagree vehemently. I vociferously disagree and demand this guy's immediate firing. I have to tell you, on a related note, this was back in 2003. I was living in Lafayette, Indiana, and I was raised Catholic, and I believe it was sometime during Lent, maybe leading up to Easter time, and I thought, I'm going to go to church today.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I rolled into church and listened to a priest get up and start bashing LGBTQ folks, and I was the only person that got up and left. Could not stomach it. And interestingly enough, if you want to hear more about that precise topic as well as abortion and the Catholic Church's response to that, you can stay tuned for my show from 6 to 7.
I'm
just lousy with the promos, right? But seriously, and I thought this is the message that you choose to spread as a Catholic priest. I mean, that is just so outside of the fundamental tenets of Catholicism, or frankly, any version of Christianity that has any relationship to what the Bible actually says.
Well, the good news, Maggie Daun, Detective Grayson Fritz, he was named Detective of the Month in 2017.
Oh, my Lord.
Literally. Thank you, Maggie Daun, Dawn of the Resistance.
Thank
she
you,
comes
Dom.
up next. Make sure you stick around from 6 to 7 p.m. Maggie Daun, she's awesome. She's smart. She's way smarter than me. She's way better looking than Crudy. And thank you to our
Low
guest.
bar.
I said way better. Casey Cayo, Women's March Wisconsin Regional Director, birddogger, and student at UW La Crosse. Thank you for sharing your experiences with your interaction with frontrunner Vice President Joe Biden. Stick around. Maggie Daun is next. We'll be back. Devil's Advocates. Crudy's in town tomorrow. I believe we have Congresswoman Gwen Moore as well. We'll be back. We the people, the hardworking 99% of men and women, only have a voice when we join together as one and amplify our message. Now is the time for all Wisconsinites to join We the People and raise our voices. Do you feel like you are wasting your money funding unaccountable consultants, unresponsive candidates, and their campaigns? Help us do something that really matters. Please join We the People. Give what you can so we can support progressive radio stations like this one, using the public airwaves to educate Wisconsin about what we the people want for our state and remind Wisconsin's politicians that they work for us. anonymous. Your donations to We the People at p4ppc.org, a registered, compliant IRS 501c3, will always be tax deductible, will always remain anonymous, and We the People pledge to spend 100% of donations educating Wisconsin on the issues our donors want discussed, giving individuals a voice in the collective message of We the People. Please give today at p4ppc.org. That's p4ppc.org. We the people need you. You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Iran confrontation, actor